Let's get a bit of rockin'. Why can't we do it tonight? Don't want to go home still a knockin'. Tonight it wouldn't seem right. Welcome to Nerds Gone Rogue, episode 101. I am Matthew Keel at Infinite_Rewind. Alongside me, my bros at Svhenn Moose Cool. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you today, man?
I am fantastic.
Yeah, Monday's over.
Monday, well, yeah, woo, Monday. No,
Is it over? Is it over?
Well, I'm not at work, so technically Monday's over.
And then that voice is at Corey in HD, Corey Dierig, our video in chief. And when we have a special guest, we have Moose Powers with us.
Don't make you ready, baby.
Games to talk about. Let me talk about those indies on my Switch. You're welcome. Do you fancy a point?
I see your head and your eyes moving. Like you're really into it. You've channeled this. And God, I'm like tearing up. It's so funny.
My characters have more personality than I do.
All right, gentlemen. So let's wrangle this back in. We play video games here.
That is true. The games we play.
Corey, you got to answer Mr. Phillips. He asked, "Can we get a hell y'all doing in the accent?"
How y'all doing tonight? I'm playing a quick game of Hollow Knight. You can call me Sir Moose. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I cannot wait for Reba to listen to this episode because she's gonna love that. So how was your guys' weekend?
It was great. Speaking of Reba, Matt's got big news.
Yeah? What's that?
Congratulations are in order.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Unless you don't want the world to know, then I've already.
He could die. He could wheel it back. He could backpedal it. He could,
Yeah. No, I feel like if I do that, I lose my life on some level. So we had a good weekend.
In a moment.
We left Philly on Friday to drive to Boston to watch her friend Kevin marry his partner Pablo. And
congratulations to them.
And I just want to say, it was a cool thing to see two men get married at a beautiful service where there was no like. Every straight wedding I've been to, there's always the sections of family on both sides looking at the other side with all this like judgment. There was none of that here. Everyone's like, hey, you want to come here? We're all happy. We're going to be happy. Everybody was happy. It was a really good time. And watching that beautiful ceremony get officiated by a woman, which is something I hadn't really seen. Not that I grew up Catholic, so like I have that, but I'd never really seen a woman officiate a wedding, and it was gorgeous, and it made me happy to live in the world I live in now. There's not a lot great with it sometimes. It's actually pretty shitty a lot of the time, but I'm happy we live in this future where this happens. After the wedding, or actually on the way to Boston, I actually got to we stopped by a world-renowned brewery called Treehouse. We had pints there, and that was good beer. And then after the wedding, we went to the reception. I had Sip of Sunshine on tap. That was good. I had a can of Boom Sauce, and that was good. And then at their after party, which was like later on in the evening, it was at a gay club. I got engaged. Woo! To my girlfriend or my partner, Reba. She's right over there. She's looking at me judgingly, making sure I don't, fib.
Tell her I say.
All you want, man. What's she care?
I'm pretty sure she would care if I lied.
That's true.
Tell her I lost.
What was that?
Tell her I lost 300 pounds.
Corey says he lost 300 pounds.
Jesus, that's a feat, man.
I really didn't lose 300 pounds.
He really didn't lose 300 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
I was trying to get Matt to lie to Reba, and now it's on tape.
It's on tape on the internet, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. 8-track.
So now just to really paint a picture of me as a partner and a boyfriend, I love to mess with Reba a lot. Now, that's not a one-sided thing. She's very good at messing with me too, aren't you, dear? Yeah, she nodded. Just I'd put a camera on her, but I'm pretty sure she'd be offended. So we had been talking about marriage for a bit. It was not a secret that this was coming. It was not really a surprise that it was going to happen. As someone who has done this before, I know what I know and I know what I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about rings, so I had Reba pick out the ring she wanted, and we got it. It came what, about a month and a half ago now? 2 months ago?
It was in the house when I was there? Crazy.
Moose, you didn't do any snooping?
It was only 3 weeks ago?
Oh.
Okay, I think it came right after you left, Moose.
Okay, all right. All right.
But she went with me to pick it up. She tried it on, and I pulled it off her. I go, okay, now you don't get it till the proposal. And she's like, "Aw," and
he'd be like, "Oh shit."
Oh, this is the best part. This is the best part. In passing, multiple times over the past few months, I have asked Reba, so you're going to marry me, right? And she's like, yeah. I go, okay. And then, a minute later, she's like, was that the official one? And I'm like, no, that one didn't count.
So you're just messing with her.
Yes, I'm just messing with her. So, at this club in Boston, I get on a knee at a table. I didn't make a deal of it. I didn't tell everybody I wanted to propose, because that was one of her things. She did not want a public scene. but I slyly get on a knee, and she's like, "Wait, what's happening right now?" And I say the words, "Do you want to tell people?" And she says, yeah, I do." And I'm like, "Okay, go ahead." And then she starts telling people, and she's all happy, and everyone's like, "Where's the ring?" I did not have the ring. Not because I forgot it, because I deliberately did not bring it, because I didn't want the situation to arise where I said, "Hey, Reba, will you get something out of my bag?" And she sees the ring, and then the surprise is ruined.
Right.
Perfect plan.
Right. If you were smart, you're always on top of the ring's location.
Oh yeah, no, it was
like your dick. You know where it is at all times.
Whoa!
What, Corey? You don't know where your dick is at all time?
No, I'm married already.
So you know it's around your wife's neck.
No, that's your balls. Wait, that's your balls.
But so the
Not
ring
in this house.
The ring. Whoa. The ring was not with us in Boston. I gave it to her when we got back. But the best part is, I got engaged without a ring and without actually saying, "Will you marry me?"
How'd you do that, man?
I said, "Do you want to tell everybody?" And she's like, "Can I?" And I said, "Yeah." And she started telling everybody. I posted it on Facebook, cementing its legally binding internet nature. And about an hour after I posted it, we were about to go to sleep. She goes, "You didn't actually ask me, did you?" I go, "No." And she's like, "Are you going to?" I'm like, "You're already marrying me. I don't have to." And now she's flipping me off lovingly.
Rightfully so.
And now she's flipping me off with the finger that has her ring on it. And yeah, we are getting married. So that happened.
That's exciting.
Also, we went and tried Night Shift in Boston. That was some good beer. Yeah, we did that.
Awesome. Congratulations, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Deshaun. Deshaun said congratulations in the chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Andy, as well, and everybody that commented on my post on Facebook. It was really nice to see, and apparently everybody's been calling Reba all day, being like, wow, we really like Matt. And I'm like, are they lying? And she's like, no, they're really not. And I'm like, all right.
I'm quite the despicable person, and I like you, so.
Yeah, but we're cut from the same shitty-ass cloth.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Anybody been playing any games?
Oh boy, let me tell you about the games that I've been playing, Matt.
Okay.
Okay, so as you know, my current obsession is N++. Been trucking along through that.
Wait. You play N++?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, actually, you know what? Since I'm here, I didn't do this. Go ahead.
Nice. Let's see. Mario Tennis Aces. I've been playing through that single player. It's a solid game. That's a solid. I think Matt's trying to show Moose his beer and he's not paying attention.
Oh, what is it? I'm sorry. I'm trying. Oh,
Shakespeare.
Ooh.
Get it? And it's called The Tempest.
That's funny. Anyway,
it's not.
I've been playing some PUBG on that Xbox with Jesse Douglas. That is a fun video game to play with friends.
Fucking guy in his Xbox.
I know, it's a good one. It works.
Is that getting any better on console?
Yeah, actually, we were talking like last week. We were like, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. We were playing, and we were like, "What's happening in this game?" And we get into the map, and it's like running at a smooth 30 frames a second. All the textures are popped in. Like the plane looks like an airplane. We're like, "Oh, that's what's wrong with this game. It's working." It felt like a totally different game because it was running it was playing how it's supposed to. And last night we got into the new map, which, you know, a lot of PC players don't like the new map, but thoroughly.
Is that the desert one?
Yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed the new map, and we found a vehicle, and we were running people over. It was a good time. Cool. Let me tell you what, it was a good time. And then, as most people do, as they're about to become a father and not play video games for a long time, I might have started the biggest game of the generation, The Witcher 3.
Dun dun dun.
Yep, started playing The Witcher because I'm excited for Cyberpunk, and that is a good video game. So I've only played about the first 3 hours, I think.
Xbox or PS4?
Xbox.
Duh.
So
I was just curious to see how it performed on your PS4 if you got it, because I have a PS4 now, and I've heard the patch kind of makes it better.
You mean the PS4 Pro?
Yeah, PS4 Pro. I meant yeah, my bad.
No problem.
Well, I mean, it runs fine on my Xbox, so I don't see why it wouldn't run fine on a PS4 Pro. But yeah, that is a fun video game. After I got through, and like the first kind of big fight in the game, you fight a griffin, and that is a fun fight. That is a cool kind of opening thing to, you know, die at twice before you finally beat it.
Cool.
How far did you make it?
I'm only like 2 or 3 hours in.
I mean, what's the current quest you're on?
I don't know.
Spoilers for any.
I just beat the griffin. So.
Oh, okay.
Whatever comes after that is where I'm at.
The Baroness, I think, is the next quest.
I think I'm actually probably gonna actually play that game next year. I think that's.
Yeah, I wanna play it just because like I'm excited for Cyberpunk, and I kind of want to get a feel of like what their worlds are like. And The Witcher is a game that I've wanted to play. Like I've started it several times. I've just never, you know, kept going with it. So we'll see if I keep going with it. But it's I
feel like playing The Witcher for Cyberpunk might be a bit disingenuous.
No, I'm not.
Cyberpunk is actually first person.
I know. I'm not playing it because I'm expecting the same game. I'm playing it just to like appreciate CD Projekt Red.
Oh, that's fair.
Leave the motherfucker alone, man.
No, I'm not. I wasn't trying to be like antagonistic. I was actually just.
I know. I'm just giving you shit.
Appreciate it.
I'm well aware.
My name's Moose, and I'm just giving you shit. You're welcome.
I love this so much. Oh, man.
See, pretty soon he's gonna come up with another voice for you, Moose, and then he'll just fire us and just do a show doing all of your days.
Yeah. Oh,
he'll be like, hey, Limey, double up that IPA. Well, sir, I do not appreciate you calling me a Limey. You're welcome.
Moose is
You're welcome.
Oh, nice. So Captain Cat is in the chat. So when you do get past the Bloody Baron quest line, which is the one I'm on now when I deleted it, that's right after where you are. Arguably the best quest line in the game. That group of writers joined Chris Avalon for Dying Light 2. So yeah. I'm looking forward to Dying Light 2. He's also the guy that did he worked on New Vegas. So he's got
Did he do New I know he did Fallout 2. I don't know about if he did. I'm pretty sure Philip said he did too, but
yeah. Fallout 2.
Fallout 2. Okay, all right.
Sorry. He did. Yeah, New Vegas. He did. Prey.
Okay, and
he did Prey.
Now, original Prey or new Prey?
I'm thinking it's new Prey.
I'm thinking it's original Prey.
It has to be new Prey.
And he did KOTOR 2. KOTOR 2 is really fucking good.
But anyways, he's and like that was the draw. Like when you saw the video for it for Dying Light 2, like they were talking about how like all your choices really truly like span like throughout, and it's like a huge like spider web of the paths you can go with your choices. I think that's going to be awesome. If they can pull that off, that will be amazing. That game's going to be like a freaking 10 out of 10, or it's going to be, the best game of the year for a lot of people. Because some games have flaws, but still, if you can actually make decisions like count in the game and matter for something on a real level instead of just, well, now that dickhead doesn't talk to me anymore.
Yeah. or now I don't have any of the red options because I'm a blue guy.
Right? Yeah. Like just to go off on a tangent, Infamous Second Son, when you have to play to get the platinum, you have to play it as a bad person, and I'm like, this is total bullshit. Because if anybody acted this way to any other human being on the planet, they'd be like, "Fuck you." No matter even if the guy was their brother. There, they would be like, "Fuck you, dickhead," and that would pretty much end the game. Yeah. And I think really that would be cool to see a game do that. It would be really cool.
But see, the funny thing about Infamous Second Son is even on the good playthrough, no one seems to give a shit about you.
Yeah.
The one thing you have being a good player is everybody hates you just a touch less.
Yeah, it's true.
And then when you're the bad one, they're like, "No, you're just a fucking shithead."
Right.
And then if you're playing as the good playthrough, the player knows you're a shithead. So
I'd actually like to see
because Delson isn't a great
character. You start making bad decisions, like people like truly come after you, like to like kill you and put you down, and like you actually have, because I don't feel like that happened to you in the Mass Effect series. Like people that played the bad side, like a renegade, like you didn't like there was no consequences for that. So it was almost like just an excuse to play bad just so you don't have to deal with it. And it's like, fuck you, man. There's consequences for being an asshole in this world. So
yeah. Well, and that's like, I mean, when you talk about Fallout, like Fallout 3 made me a fan of that series. I'm not going to pull any punches on that, but like Fallout New Vegas kind of made me a believer in a weird way, because I loved how you think you're doing good, and then you find out by doing this one good thing you fucked up a couple of other things, and you're like, oh, but I helped you, but you're shitty. I didn't know you were shitty. Why you got to be shitty? And then it's way more detailed than that, because it's been like 8 years since I played that game. But it's not cut and dry, and that's why that game is probably the best Fallout. I mean, I haven't played 2, but like, and Phillips will go to the mat saying Fallout 2 is the best one. But yeah, I like you, Moose. When I saw that Chris Avallone was involved, I just remember our boy Phillips talking that man up, and I'm like, you know what? If Phillips says this guy knows what he's doing, and he's not really steered me wrong, and so I will pay attention. And I actually should probably try.
It's also Dying Light 2.
Like, I actually should play Dying Light 1 because I've heard so many good things about that game, and I've never played it.
And you haven't yet?
Uh-uh.
See, I have the Fallout. We should co-op it. It's on my challenge list. But anyways, Dying Light is a good game. And so to just add, not that the story was crap in that, but to be able to add upon that is going to be awesome. But anyways, we went on a little Chris Avallone tangent right there.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you been playing? Or anything else?
Well, I've been playing a little bit of Quantum Break on Xbox because I'm excited for Control. And I think, Quantum Break sadly is locked onto the Xbox. And, well, I mean, like, if you have a PC, you can play it, but I don't think there's...
Nobody's buying it on the they probably locked it behind the Windows 10 store.
No, it's on Steam also. But, like, it's just, that game, I think, if it would have been multi-platform, would have gotten a lot more love than it did, So, I think that game is cool. I don't really care for the TV aspect of it, but, like, the core gameplay and, like, the environments are cool and the powers are cool. So, that's kind of all I've been playing, though. Because I was trying to think, I was like, well, I was excited for Cyberpunk. What was the other game I started playing because that team announced another game? And I was like, oh, yeah, Quantum Break. Control. So, that's it, though, for me.
Moose?
I beat Dark Souls last week.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Appreciate that. Probably going to put that to the side and do the Platinum next year. I don't know. I'm still mulling over how I feel about the ending and the whole game, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I beat that, and then I jumped right in. Well, I didn't jump right into it. I was playing Dragon's Crown as part of my challenge game, so I had it on Vita, and I bought it for the PS4. The PS4 made me appreciate the game a lot more, just because it's a controller and a larger screen, and when I went back to the Vita, I wasn't as disappointed as I thought I would be having to go back to the Vita to try and play it, because I was like, I'll take it with me on the way to work, while I'm at work, and play it at work, which I was doing. I put like a little here or there to try and advance my character, and so I beat that yesterday. So that challenge game is done. So that's 2 challenge games done in like the span of a week, if we're going from last Tuesday to this Tuesday. And then I've been playing Hollow Knight. I started Cosmic Star Heroine by Zeboyd Games, which is fun. It's got a platinum. It's a relatively easy platinum, and it's got separate trophy lists for the Vita and the PS4. And what's cool is the cross-buy. So I bought it on PS4 the day one, and so I have it on Vita now. So I'm going to play it on Vita because I can play it during my lunch breaks, and it won't cut into my gaming time at home. And then Livelock. Jason and I have been playing Livelock, which is like a twin-stick shooter. It's actually pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Like, you got an upgrade path. There's different weapons you can get. You have a main, a secondary, and then you have like an ultimate weapon, kind of like Destiny has. And then like you just pick up ammo, and you have special powers per each type of character. There's 3 characters. It's 3 players, and I mean, I'm popping trophies in it like left and right. The trophies are crazy how often they pop in that game, but relatively easy platinum. So I think Jason and I are going to go for the platinum. But been playing that, and since Black Ops 3, is free. I bought the game, and so I'm a huge fan of Safeguard, which is a mode. Because, like, I don't like the Call of Duty games because everybody's about the kill-death ratio. I like Battlefield because it's more squad-based oriented and it's more goal-oriented. And so when they came out with Black Ops 3, they added a mode called Safeguard, where it's like two teams against each other, and you take, like, one team has to march a robot to a circle on the other team's area of the map, and so it's just back and forth, like, trying to get that robot to move. So, like, you have to be, the team that's moving it has to be near the robot to get it to move, so basically the other team's trying to take out the team, and then also the other team can shoot the robot, and if the robot's health goes down low enough, it shuts down, and it takes like 30 seconds to reboot. And basically there's a timer on the match, and so if you don't make it to the enemy's circle on time, like, you lose. Like, it's not, or technically it's a draw. And so it's best 2 out of 3. And so the match, we lost the first one, we won the second one, and then we tied the third, so we went into sudden death, and then we won. So it's a lot of fun. The mode's pretty cool because I don't have to worry about. It's not so. I guess the thing with Call of Duty is it's fast paced, so it's not as fast paced. So I can get my bearings. I can bunker down and, like, get behind some cover and kill some people. Like, we tried multiplayer. We tried Conquest, or their version of Conquest, which is like you have to hold 3 points. And I played that with Jason and Jeff last night, and I got, like, ganked. I was like 10 and 34 or 10 and 40 was my kill death ratio. And tonight when I played Safeguard, I was like 14 and 20 or something like that, or 14 and 18 or some shit like that. My kill death ratio is never good in Call of Duty, but at least in that mode, it's a lot better than what it. I mean, because, like, I agree with Jeff. Like, you spawn and somebody kills you, and it's like, well, you know, because they've been playing forever. Like, these are, you know, they're like 13-year-old. And I was talking about Matt with that before the show started. Like, Call of Duty has really good shooting mechanics. Just their multiplayer matching is like shit because you're matched with people that are far superior to you, and it's like, I don't want to play this. You know, like, I'll play their game for the single player because it's awesome. You know, if I can get some friends to play multiplayer, I might play, but after a while, I'm just going to call it quits because it's not as fun, you know? I mean, there was a guy running around stabbing people to death, and I'm like, I don't want to play this, you know? Mm-hmm. So it kind of, like, takes me back to, like, the good old days of GoldenEye for shadowing, where like, you can, like, say what you wanted. Like, there was no, it was pistols only or this only. Like, it would be awesome if they
slappers only.
Yes, slappers only.
Slapper was the best. But, like, it would be cool if someone came out with a multiplayer where you could.
What were you talking about? Was it the E3 episode where you're like slappers only until you pay $5 or something like that, or until you unlock a loot box?
Yeah. Slappers Royale.
Yeah, Royale with cheese. But that's what I've been playing. I haven't really been playing much of Hollow Knight, although I love it and I highly recommend it. I've got that to play. I've got the Octopath Traveler demo to play.
You got a challenge. Worry about the other stuff, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Well, yeah, I have the challenge. So, well, here's my thing. So I'm hoping. I have to play Odin Sphere. Odin Sphere is the only other game I have on my Vita that I can play during my lunch break. And so I kind of want to play that and get that out of the way for Octopath Traveler next month. So I think you have to beat it on each character. I don't even know how you beat that game. Like, I have to look it up and figure out, because I might have already beaten it and I just don't know. Because, like, I think you play through one character and then, like, you take on the role of another character. And I'm like,
an Octopath?
No, in Odin Sphere.
Oh. Well, I mean, just go till you see credits and say, I saw credits. What do you want?
Yeah. That's basically what we're going on. And also trophy. So, like, I mean, like, for Dragon's Crown, technically, I had, like, there's so much more after you beat the game. But I got the trophy that says, you know, beat the game as the barbarian. So I've technically beaten the game. But, because I think the level cap's 99. Yeah. Which is insane. So you got a level 2 characters up to 99, or at the time that the game came out originally, it was 65, I think. So I don't know. I have to look into it, but I don't know if the trophies for reaching max level is at 65 or 99. Do you know, Matt? Because I think you have the platinum.
I have. Yeah, I don't remember.
Probably don't remember, but I'll look it up.
Like I got the platinum like when that game came out. Like I stormed through that game. That game was so good.
It is. I recommend it to anybody.
But if you've as far as I'm concerned, if you've seen credits, you've beaten the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Like for a situation like this, where it's not like, hey, you have to platinum these games, you have to see credits in them.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's the thing. And like even with Dark Souls, I did both endings, and so I mean, it's like you said, you see credits or you start New Game Plus, like you're done. Like that's it. Like that's the end of the game. So Dark Souls, I think, goes right into New Game Plus.
It doesn't even give you a chance. You're just like
there's no credits or anything.
All of a sudden, you're in prison with all your stuff, and you're like, oh, this again.
Yeah, you're like, all right, I'm back at it. So
because of my road trip, didn't play a lot. I tried to download the Captain Toad demo just to show Reba while we were in Boston, but I was unable to do so. Did play some Hollow Knight just in the wee bit of downtime that I had. On yesterday, when we were heading out of Boston, we stopped by her cousin's place and hung out with her and her two boys. And they had, they're 11 and they were playing games on iPad and stuff. So I was, chatting with them about games and whatever. And I played this game called Helix Jump, and it's an iPad game. It was fine, it was fine. They're two twins, and Zach, he was showing me all he's a big Star Wars fan, real big Star Wars fan, and he was showing me Star Wars Clash Royale and a couple of other Star Wars games, and I didn't really play any of them because I'm really tired and I have to drive for 6 hours, so no. But the funny thing is, Reba mentioned oh, Matt does a video game podcast, and all of a sudden these two have all sorts of questions. They're like, are you on YouTube? I'm like, yeah. They're like, how many subscribers do you have? I'm like, not even 150. Because at the time I think we only had 149, and they asked to see it, and I'm like, well, I know there's some cursing that happens, so I don't want to just
probably not.
I don't want to just show them, a bad episode. But luckily, Corey had did his hype trailers, and he did a hype trailer for episode 100. So I'm like, this is kind of us. And they're like, can we actually see a show? And I'm like, sure. And I started episode 99, and then as honest as kids can be, they're like, so when does it get entertaining?
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, I'll just shut this off because you're not going to lie to me. You're 11. What do you have to gain?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm like, to me, it's entertaining. I don't expect it to be entertaining for you. And they're like, okay, you're just weird and old. And I'm like, yeah.
To be fair, I don't think 11-year-olds are our audience.
I don't think so either.
Not
totally not.
Not encourage them to not listen or anything, but we tend to lean a little bit older, and that seems to be where our fan base lies, at least in terms of
compared to 11-year-olds, we are crotchety.
It's fair. You know what?
So get off my fucking lawn.
See, just like that. But and
turn that shit rapper music.
No,
pump that metal.
Wow,
mumble rappers. Fuck the hell that shit is.
But it was they were asking me all sorts of questions about streaming games and such, and I was like, I know very little about it. They're like, have you ever streamed a game? I'm like, yes, I have, on Twitch. And they're like, what's Twitch? I'm like, this is getting too difficult.
What's Twitch? Isn't Twitch aimed for them?
Possibly, but
they don't know because they're on iPad, dude.
Fair.
But like their mother also sort of curtails device usage, and I didn't want to encourage them to go against that because it's not my place.
You know what? That's fair.
You know what? Look at fucking Matthew Keogh being the responsible adult, getting engaged and not perpetuating the debilitating addiction that is video games. Look at you,
next
fucking model citizen.
Paying his rent and cell phone bill.
God damn!
But
look at him. He's all grown up, Corey. Our nephew is all grown up.
We did it.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Matthew, I'd just like to say that I'm so proud of you.
Was that fucking Gilbert Gottfried? I don't know what's happening right now. Are you Iago from Aladdin? What's going on right now?
You've grown into such a good man.
You're welcome. But
I thought this was my episode. Now get out of here and drink your beer.
Anyway, so yeah, I wasn't about to like start stomping on rules because that's a shitty thing for an adult to do.
Right.
No, it's
but
not.
Crush
it.
And their mother was asking me about what kind of content is. I'm like, it's probably not age appropriate for your son, so I'm not going to tell you to watch or subscribe or anything. But I think two of us. I got to be responsible here. And I was like, I think there are times where we play games that are age appropriate, and if they ever come up, I'll send them your way. If you want recommendations for good games. She's like, that would be nice. And I said, okay. I go, probably, I play most of my games on a console. I don't really play mobile or iPad, so there's that. But yeah, that was really all I played. I played Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's really fucking good, and if you're not playing it, you should be. Let's get to our topic, gentlemen.
Woo!
We are discussing each of our 10 favorite games of all time. Before we get to the 10s, I will say this. We went for my goal here was to go for favorites, not necessarily what we think are the best. Take from that what you will. I'm not gonna try and do the diatribe like I tried before and got roundly made fun of for it. I will say this. Does anybody have any honorable mentions before we go to the 10?
I mean, I do. I have a few. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on them.
Rapid fire them. Don't just be like, hey, this game, done.
Yeah. And as I was looking at, as I was making my list, I was like, oh, there's gonna be a lot of old games on here from my childhood, right? There's a lot of old games I enjoy playing, and as I was making my list and narrowing it down, I'm like, man, as I began to get older, games started to get better in a lot of ways. And my list is an embarrassment to my childhood. Just leave it there. But honorable mentions, rapid fire. I've got about 8 of them. Metroid, the original for NES, is a great game. And then Metroid Prime, the original for GameCube. Two Metroid games where I really felt like, hey man, these are some quality games. Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U is a fantastic game, and Super Mario Brothers 2, which I think is severely underrated in terms of the Mario franchise.
I'll agree.
Wind Waker is a great Zelda game, one that I didn't think I was... I'm going to admit, I was one of those people who was kind of upset when I found out it was that, but then, when you play it, you realize it's actually a fantastic Zelda game.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts, I spent a lot of time with the first game, specifically. My love for Disney, and at the time I was playing a lot of JRPGs, so Kingdom Hearts was a no-brainer. And then Final Fantasy X. I really enjoyed that game at the time. Went back to it a few years ago. Not as great as I remember it. So, but still, I had a lot of fond memories of that game. So those are kind of my honorable mentions. Rapid fire. Pew pew pew.
Moose, do you have any honorables or no?
To be honest, I got a lot of honorable mentions, like Borderlands, pre-sequel, loved Final Fantasy X, stuff from the Final Fantasy series. Like, I did enjoy 9. I'd like to get back to 12, never finished it, but so it's weird that it's going to be honorable mentions, but like some of the Grand Theft Auto series, like Vice City and 3, spent a lot of time with those games, but the games that are on my list are higher ranking than those, I guess I should say. I just like, and so many like indies, Castle Crashers. I put so much time in Crashers. Enjoying a couple indies I think are on my list. So just just so much stuff to mention. That's all I got.
Yeah,
I'd be here all night if I went through a vast majority of
my honorable mentions are like the first honorable mention is probably the only one of them that's actually ranked, and that's Rock Band. That would be number 11 for me. I had a lot of fun with that series. All of them, be it actually Guitar Hero or Rock Band, because I did play Guitar Hero a lot as well. I really like Guitar Hero Metallica. But then like Beatles Rock Band 1, 2, and 3, a shit ton of that DLC, like extra albums and whatnot. I spent a lot of money and I spent a lot of time with that game, and it's some of my favorite times playing a video game. FIFA, I've been playing that game since it came out, and I still like it. I still think it's a good soccer game. Windjammers, spent a lot of time playing that in an arcade. Super Mario World, Metroid, Super Metroid, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Bastion and Pyre are on there as well. And I could keep going. I just stopped writing because I felt like I was just going to keep going. But let's get to the 10s. We'll do a round robin if you want. Brief statements about everything. We don't need to get too diatribe until we get to our number 1s. And then I know Corey and I ranked our entire 10.
I did too.
Oh, you did do it? Okay.
I did. I've been doing. What's funny is I've been doing it like over the last since B-side started.
Yeah.
Like every time I look at it, it's like, oh no, that should be moved. Oh no, that should be moved. And just inside the top 10, it's been moving back and forth quite a lot. So anyway,
well, all right.
Good to go.
Commit to your 10, sir, right now.
I have.
Number 10.
I did. My number 10?
Lock it down.
Star Ocean Second Story.
Really?
Yeah. This is why I wanted favorite and not best of all time, because we get shit like this. I love it. Okay, go ahead. I had an N64, and then my buddies bought a PlayStation and decided to go with a PlayStation. I think that was relatively about the time where you're just like, I don't know if I don't want to play kid games anymore. Nintendo was still kind of doing their kid games thing, which is not bad. They still are, my personal opinion, but they're getting better about it. Although that might be a stigma, I don't know. Anyways, well, I also think at that time we were both of the same age, so it's easy to say. Oh, I was just getting out of high school. Yeah, so, these games look like cartoons, and you look the PlayStation. Cartoons are for kids. That's kind of what. Yeah. So right, and you're looking at stuff like what was it, Loaded and Reloaded, or so the shooters and stuff, and you're just like, I want to play that, and so went over to buddy's house, and he had Star Ocean Second Story, and just watching the game was awesome, because I think I've seen turn-based before, and I wasn't that huge into turn-based games, and the cool thing about Star Ocean is you can run around on the battlefield, if you want to, you're not locked into turn-based combat. And so I was like, this is really cool how it's a JRPG that does that. And then the story was cool, unlocking your characters. The combat system was cool because you had combos. You could build combos off of somebody else. And so I had a lot of fun with that game.
Sounds like the Tales games. I've never played any of the Star Ocean games, but that's kind of what Tales' thing was too. It
was kind of like Breath of Fire 4, because I know Breath of Fire 4 you can build off of the like your other teammates or your other party system. So, anyways, I loved Star Ocean. I wanted to pick up the new one that came out, and then it got like really crappy reviews. So I was like, no, I'm not going to play that. And then I wanted to pick up Second Story because they were going to release like a remaster on the Vita. And then I think the creative director of the newest Star Ocean was like, we're not going to release it in America because we don't want to confuse the audience as we try and quote unquote reboot the series or, reintroduce the series. And it's like, well, your reintroduction is shit, so you should start with a really good game, But anyways, so that was my number 10. It's also the reason I bought a PlayStation. So it had to do something good. And then I got into a whole crap ton of JRPGs and a bunch of games on the PlayStation. But anyways, Corey.
You're number 10, sir.
My number 10 is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I was falling off of the Assassin's Creed bandwagon, honestly. Like, I didn't finish 3. I thought Revelations was okay, but, I think Brotherhood was a really, really good game, and 2 was really good. But, like, I was like, man, I'm kind of tired of this. And then everybody's like, no, Assassin's Creed 4 is pretty good. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give it one last shot, right? And it was like, I spent probably, I don't know, I almost 100% of that game, and the only reason why I couldn't 100% it is because it required you to do some online stuff, and I got it on the Wii U, and they didn't fix it for that version since there was no online stuff. So my save file is at 94.1% because awesome. the final 5.9% it requires you to do online stuff, and the Wii U version doesn't have online. But I thought the naval combat stuff was cool. I thought upgrading your ship and the way it felt to just sail to the different islands and imagining that open world and open sea feel was solid. And I think Edward Kenway is probably my favorite character in the Assassin's Creed series. I didn't play Unity or Syndicate, and the next time I got into that series was Origins, and I thought Origins was fantastic. So, and it's the same team as the Black Flag team. So I mean, it's cool. So, Black Flag,
cool,
is a good game. So, Matt,
it's
what's your
good time?
It was a good time.
My number 10 is a very recent game.
Helldivers.
It is very good, Corey.
Yeah!
My 2015 game of the year, Helldivers. This game made Moose and I was one of the things that made Moose and I buddies. It also it also made us friends with Captain Canada, and each of us got equally frustrated with each other, and we also survived some shit. And each one of those like close survival victories felt amazing. And I mean, it's a game I've been playing since. I don't play it as regularly as I did then, but I still like to go back to it. And yeah, Helldivers is my number 10 favorite game as of this moment. If you haven't played it, you should. If you want to play it with us, let us know.
I want to play it with you guys again.
Okay.
I miss playing that game with you guys.
Let's get on.
I played was awesome.
Okay, now I'm just gonna reverse the order now. So I'll do my number 9.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna waste a lot of time.
So we're doing it like the draft.
Yes.
Do it.
I'm going to just say it real quickly. Breath of the Wild is my number 9.
Mm-hmm. Good.
It's a game I just can't stop thinking about. I can't stop thinking about how much fun it is running around that world. So yeah, Breath of the Wild. Corey, number 8 or number 9, sir.
Super Mario 64. It was one of those times. I'll make it brief. I wanted a Nintendo 64 for Christmas, and my parents kept telling me that I wasn't getting one because that's how parents are when you're 10-ish.
They gotta keep the element of surprise, man.
Yeah, so
it's like me and my engagement. You have to keep them wondering.
This was I just remember distinctly, like, this Christmas is probably my favorite Christmas memory of all time, where, like, my parents got me a bunch of stuff for Christmas. I don't even remember what they got me in particular. And then my grandma came over and she was like, "Can you help me grab the gifts out of the car?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so, like, there's all these big bags for everybody, like my mom and my dad and my cousin Lindsay, who lived with us at the time. Like, so we're in there bringing in all the gifts and stuff. And, you know, I'm pulling them out of the trunk, and then we go in, and she's like, we're opening gifts and stuff, and she hands me this square box, right? And I'm like, okay, it's probably like a VHS tape or something. And so I open it, and it's Super Mario 64. And I was like freaking out. And then I was like, I don't have a Nintendo 64. I can't play this. And she goes, I think there's one more gift in the car. And it was in the back seat. And it was the big N64 box. It was the best Christmas of my life.
That's
and
a
like
good one.
And Mario 64 was like, it was literally the only game I think I played for like 6 months, and I got all 120 stars like 3 times, I think.
Nice.
That's one of those.
Well done, Grandma.
That's
Well
one of those.
done.
I mean, does everybody have like one of those moments, one of those Christmas story moments where they're like, oh, there's that one gift over there, and it's
Yeah,
like
the parents did pull the Christmas story.
like
Hey, what's that? What's that back there? You know, hey,
Yeah.
you'll shoot your eye out.
yeah, but no,
then-
but like I think I don't remember what year it was for me, but like I had a very similar was. I don't remember what the gift was, but they're like, oh, like they're like, well, go get. Like, they literally said like, go get dressed for grandma's because we're going to grandma's for like lunch or whatever. And I go in and they had hidden it in my closet. They didn't even wrap it because like I go and I'm like, man, I didn't get this. And got it. It's in my closet. I'm like, ah!
Nice.
And you know that.
Well done.
Yeah.
And then I had a bunch of gift cards to or gift certificates, I guess, back then to like I don't know, Toys R Us or something.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That was like trying to decide between Pilot Wings and Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey.
Tell
I
me
was
you
like-
went with Wayne Gretzky.
Of course, I went with Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey.
I mean,
Yeah.
Pilot Wing 64, I still really like, but it's not as good as the Super.
Oh, don't worry, I ended up getting Pilot Wings at some
I mean,
point. But
yeah, because you're not an idiot.
I went with Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, he's the great one.
A friend and I used to play that all the time, and we used to hate each other because we would always pause as we were making a mad dash towards the goalie. Because like as soon as you unpause, like it's an instant goal. If you shoot, it's an instant goal.
Oh yeah.
So like we figured out the glitch of the game, and we would just sit there like hitting each other because we're like, stop.
No pause glitches, no take back.
Right, exactly. No pause. No cheat.
Bruce, you're number 9, sir.
Metroid Prime.
Okay,
I got my GameCube.
it's a good game. That's a good fucking game.
God, it's quite a story right there. Long story short,
Like that and
appendicitis.
Eternal Darkness are like the GameCube ones on my honorable mentions. But yeah, those are good games.
Caused me to go to App. My girlfriend at the time bought me a GameCube because I was sick, and so Metroid Prime came out while I was in college, and like I think around 2002. So I was playing it like that year, the first year I was at App State, and so loved it. Was like I like the fact that they were able to make a 3D version of Metroid was awesome. So loved it. Loved exploring, finding all the pieces, like all the parts to like upgrade stuff and whatnot. And so it was a stellar game. Just loved it. So number 9.
Cool. You're number 8, Moose.
My number 8, and I gotta look at the list, is Mario 64.
Okay.
So I got my N64, God, 1996. Well, or whenever, the Christmas after it came out, I guess. So it came out in 86?
96, yeah.
Maybe. So then maybe I got in 97, or maybe it was next year. I don't know, but Mario was one of the first games, and then the other game on my list I bought with some birthday money. But Mario was the first game where you got to use the analog stick, and you're like, what the heck is going on with this? And in all honesty, I think Nintendo did a wonderful job of, like, it wasn't a tutorial, but, like, the beginning world where you just get to mess around with Mario was a great tutorial. Because you're just making them move and turning them and jumping.
Oh, and you're running around outside in the courtyard before you even go in the castle. Yeah,
you're just like, oh, I can do this. You're like, holy cow, this is awesome.
The first 2 days, like, I didn't even go in the castle because I was like, I'm running around out here, climbing on trees, swimming underwater. Like,
I'm triple jumping. It's great.
Yeah, you're actually climbing a tree and jumping off the, like, you're doing a handstand at the top of the tree. And
yeah, that's the best.
It's awesome.
And then I didn't even like. I don't even know if I was like even paying attention to the castle at that point. I was like, and then I walked up to the, like, I was just running randomly, and like then the dude in the cloud comes swinging around to talk to you. I'm like, oh, you can go in the castle.
Oh shit! You don't mean I just get to stay out here and have fun?
I was like, whoa!
I can go play inside. What the hell?
That was Super Mario 64 was awesome. I played that through the tail end. Yeah, I played that through the tail end of my high school career. You want to call it that? But that was a blast. Super Mario 64 was a blast. So
still the best 3D Mario game in my opinion, I think.
So Corey, your number 8.
My number 8 is Twilight Princess.
Wow, pretty low.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at this list. I'm like, a lot of things have changed, and you know that game means a lot to me in a bunch of different ways and a ton of different reasons. I'm not going to go into depth. If you want to find that out, there's some fireside chats with me and Matt where you can figure out why that game means a lot to me. But like, I don't know, that game hasn't really aged the greatest, and like, but you know, it's just one of those sentimental things where like it meant a lot to me at the time I was playing it, and it still means a lot to me today. And it's just one of those games that kind of, I don't know, it was the Zelda game I think I wanted Wind Waker to be, and like I actually really enjoyed it, and it was I didn't really get those Ocarina of Time vibes from it at first because I only played through Ocarina of Time once, and like I didn't have very good, like, that game was very frustrating to me at the time because I wasn't smart enough to like figure anything out, so it just was frustrating. But you know, I really liked it, and then like, you know, as it aged, like, you know, like any game does, there's games that come out that do things better and take that formula and turn it upside down. And then we got Breath of the Wild, which is an infinitely better Zelda game. So, but yeah, Twilight Princess. It's my number 8.
Okay, my number 8 is kind of like a sentimental one for me as well. It's Mod Nation Racers. The more I'm looking at my list, the more I realize there's a shit ton of just new stuff. There's like not a ton of classics here, but Mod Nation Racers I actually think is the best kart racer. You could say what you want about Mario Kart as a franchise. I'm not really going to denigrate that. But Mod Nation Racers made it fun to both try and be good at racing and be good at doing user-generated content. You could design your own racer. You could design your car. You could design tracks. And it actually, I feel like its creation suite it might not have been as robust as Little Big Planets, but it was easier to create cool shit in that game as a kart racer than any game that has given me the option to create user-generated stuff. I created a ton, like, there was a guy I was friends with. His PSN name was Caveman. And he and I, like, he and I met just because he liked a couple of my creations and asked my opinion on his. And like he was like, I really like your Daft Punk racer. You know, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, I use this, and this. He's like, oh, that's really creative. I never thought of that. What do you think of my stuff? Motherfucker created like he created a shit ton of like anime characters that were like way more detailed than you could ever imagine. He created like, he had carts that had, you know, it looked like he had animation cells from Dragon Ball Z on them. Like his Goku on his cart looked like fucking Goku. Like it looked like a hand-drawn Goku. And you know, you could get super detailed with it and get really sophisticated things. Like I did a series of cards that were based on record labels I like. Like I did one for Two Tone Records, one for Studio One from Jamaica. I did one for Stiff Records, things like that. I did one for Motown, one for Stax. And you know, and I just had a lot of fun with that. And it was a really cool thing, and I wish it would come back in some way, shape, or form. And I'm kind of resigned to the fact that it won't. Let's move on to number 7. This will be a real quick one. Super Meat Boy.
Nice. That's a solid choice.
Super Meat Boy is a great goddamn platformer that I still have fun with today. I've been playing it for like 10 years now. So
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was gonna be higher on your list.
I thought it was too when I originally started, but then I realized there were some things that needed to go ahead of it.
Oh, I know what'll be higher than that, and that's rightfully so.
Right, yeah. So
keep moving.
Let's just throw it back to Corey. You're number 7, sir.
This one's kind of, I couldn't really decide which game I wanted to put on here for 7, but Halo, I put Halo 3 and 4 on here. Halo 3.
Okay, you're incorrect because ODST should be on there.
True, but I
smack them down. Smack them down.
No, go ahead. 3 and 4. Do you?
No, I think Halo 4. I prefer Halo 4 over 3, but I had so many good times with friends on Halo 3, and you know, I mean, Halo 4 I think has the superior campaign, but I've had so many good times with Halo 1, 3, and 4 specifically that it's just like it was so hard to pick, like in terms of just like friends coming over, all linking up, like LAN parties with Halo 1, and then when all your friends go off to their different ways to college or whatever, and then, you know, you all meet up on Xbox Live to play Halo 3, and it's just like you were in high school, except you have a headset on instead of all crowded in a damp basement.
Well, I mean, can I ask a question? Yeah. Why not do Halo as a series then? I mean, you could do that.
I thought about that, but I was like, there's
that's
a lot
of punking out, man. That's just glazing it. I was like, this over.
I really thought about it, but I was like, we're doing our favorite games, not our favorite series.
Okay.
Yeah, right, and there's a lot of Halo that I don't like. You know, like Halo 5's campaign, I don't really care for. Sure. Halo Reach, I don't really care for. Halo 2, I don't really care for.
Ooh.
I was just like, I was thinking like memories I had playing these games. So, and you know, Halo 4 I think has the best campaign out of all the Halo games, but Halo 3's multiplayer is really solid. So,
okay, yeah,
I couldn't really pick between which 3. And you know, I did think of putting series on there, but then I was like, well, you know, there's multiple games.
You're going to give me a shit ton of shit for this, or what?
Yeah, well, not just that, but I have multiple games from multiple series on my list. So, like, you know, because there's, like, for example, there's Metroid games I don't care for. There's Zelda games I don't care for. There's Mario games I don't care for. So, like, you know, it's that weird line that you just want to be like, maybe we'll do our favorite series at some point down the road, but for now.
I feel like series would have to be like a top 5. If you're gonna sit there and like you say, I generally like everything in the series.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that would whittle us down to a top 5 because I don't know if I could find a top 10 series of games where I like every entry.
Yeah,
you know. So that would be interesting to do later on as a topic for later on.
Yeah, maybe this fall we'll revisit that series topic.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
episode Nerds Gone Rogue, episode 124. Stay tuned.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moose. You're number 7.
Borderlands. I bought Borderlands on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really a whim. I was kind of following it in magazines. I don't think I was really online at the time, like looking at stuff online, and so
I saw that in a GameStop, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, like I bought it.
You see that guy with his fingers against his head? I'm like, "Oh, that motherfucker's crazy." I want to see what's going on with Crazy Pants here. So look at this. This game looks cool.
It was like, so I have never played Diablo until Diablo 3 on Xbox 360 and then moving into PS4. And having played it, like when I look back at Borderlands, I'm like, oh my god, it is seriously it's a Diablo first person shooter.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I mean, in my opinion, I know a lot of people had problems with the ending. Spoilers, I'm not going to talk about it, but I was fine with the ending because I thought it was more in line with how like much of a sense of humor the team had when they were making the game, and I think the game was supposed to be more funny than a lot of people thought it was. A lot of people wanted to take it seriously, and I'm like I hit that ending, and I'm like, no, that's like perfect for them. Like it's perfect for what they're trying to do, and I played Roland, loved the turret, loved leveling it up, loved using shotguns. I think they were
Hyperion shotguns,
which had like freaking 65% accuracy, and then if you spec'd properly, you could just you could use them as sniper rifles. It was fucking crazy. It was amazing. And then you could respec your character, which was awesome. And then basically my high school buddy who eventually became a roommate was I kill people. He's like, I throw damage at people. He's like, you're just throwing bullets at people. Because I was a support class, so auto regen on the ammo and all that stuff. But I played that game. God, I played Roland 4 or 5 times, and then all the DLCs, bought all the DLCs for it, and I was hoping. I think it got leaked recently that there's it got rated in North Korea or some shit like that, that a collector's edition for Kyrgyz. Yeah. In my personal opinion, I'd love them to come. I was expecting them to come out and before the whole there's no talks of Borderlands 3 at E3. My thought was they're going to come out and they're going to announce that Borderlands 3 is coming. Oh yeah, by the way, if you pre-order, you get the Borderlands remaster, or there's a Borderlands quote unquote remaster edition. So you pay, instead of what is it, $59.99, you pay $79.99 or $89.99. Yeah. Maybe not exactly.
The Far Cry 3 thing with Far Cry 5, where you pay $90 bucks and you get
and you get you pre-order it and you automatically get Borderlands, and then they're okay, it's only for our pre-orders now, and kind of like Far Cry 3, you can buy it separately later on down the road. So it's available first to the people that pre-order, and then we'll sell it later off as its own thing, and which I think it hits this week. I think I was looking at the drop earlier today, and I think it drops this week for regular, people that didn't pre-order Far Cry 5. You can buy the classic edition of 3. But I loved Borderlands. Love Borderlands. Love the loot-based system, all that stuff. I played with a lot of friends online, met cool new people playing it online, and so, but yeah, and in all honesty, that would be in my top 5 of the series. Spoiler alert for that episode. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
So that was
spoilers. Gosh,
that's number 7. Gosh,
was that number 7? That's number 7 for you, right?
That was number 7.
Okay, so what's your number 6?
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. All right.
Ooh, yeah,
that's a good
one. Dude. GoldenEye was so good. So I bought GoldenEye. That was the game I mentioned when I was talking about Mario. I bought GoldenEye with my own birthday money. I bought a Rumble pack when I bought it.
The Rumble.
Or maybe it came with one. No, it didn't come with one.
No, Star Fox was the game that came with a Rumble pack.
So I think I bought Star Fox and had a Rumble pack, but then I had to buy an extra one because so apparently there's a theme with me and my buddy from high school, Joe Miller, the Screaming Pimp, we played a shit ton of Mario, and we played a shit ton of GoldenEye, and then a lot of Borderlands 2 together. So, anyways,
tell me about this pimp who screams.
I will take you down the Joe Miller path another time. That's a conversation for some other time. But anyways, we would play GoldenEye so much. We played Mario. We played Mario a lot. And then when I got GoldenEye, we would play it so much we memorized the maps and the spawn points. And so it would become, if you were the killed, it would become a race from your spawn point to the nearest gun to be able to kill the person coming after you. And if you were the killer, it was a race for you to from the spot you killed that person to try and race to the next spawn point. It was insanity, man. We played that so much. And it was a lot of Friday and Saturday nights for me and my buddies, just like sitting around playing GoldenEye split screen and just like killing each other and having a good old time. And like we were talking, slappers only,
slappers
pistols only, submachine guns only. Like I would love to see like a multiplayer game come out and be like, this is the parameter you can build, and then people, you can just have people play. You can play with your friends exclusively, or you can be like, you can throw it out there and like people can join. They just want to join any match in general. They might end up in your match, and have fun with it.
Yeah, I played a lot of GoldenEye as well, and my uncle Perry and my friend Jimmy, my friend's his name is Jolly, but his first name is Matt. I graduated high school with like 18 Matts, and we all thought it'd be funny to form a Matt club for the yearbook. So that's in the yearbook. But Jolly, and then Matt Wilson, and then Matt Goblin.
That's hilarious, dude. That's why I got my nickname. Because I was in a group of like 5 Bryans. So like,
I was Keel, and because we were creative. But we all played GoldenEye a lot, like just like weeknights or weekends. But then like when I would go to parties, and you'd see like a bunch of people playing GoldenEye, and like I dated this girl. Her name was Jill. She was like interested in playing video games, but she knew like I was really good at them, and she's like, "Look at them! They're all playing that GoldenEye you play with like Jolly and your uncle." And I'm like, "Yeah, I should go over there." She's like, "No, you should go over there. You should beat their ass because they're dicks." So she would send me over as a ringer just to beat up her friends in GoldenEye. It was great. I will say this: if you were to put me back then against you back then, if you put the temple with lasers, I guarantee you, neither of you would get a kill on me. You guys might kill each other. You would not kill me. It was
my stage. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Because there was one where they're like I walked in and they're like, okay, well, we're doing slappers only. Winner gets to pick the rules. I'm like, all right, slappers only. What stage are we on? And I don't remember all the stages. I still just remember the temple like by heart. And they're like, it's here, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do this. Are we doing one hit slappers or like multiple hit slappers? And they're like, well, multiple hit slappers, because who wants to do one hit? That's just dumb. I'm like, all right, fine. So basically, all of them tried to get multiple hits on the same person every time. Like it would basically be like watching like the battles in Braveheart where they just run at each other, hitting.
Yeah.
Whereas I would every time I ran by one, I hit them and then just kept moving. So you'd get to the point where there was like 4 people, or well, it was only 4 people at a time. So the other 3 would be chasing me because they saw me walk by slapping them, and then I would just turn around and just boom, 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 right as they were following me. And I think it took 2 or 3 to actually kill if you didn't do one hit. And so I would basically I would hit one, they'd follow, I'd find another, or I'd find the other 2 fighting, hit them both, and I'm like, let's kill him. And it would be, they'd they'd team up to get one on me. Like one of them would get one, but every time they got one, I had already killed each of them like 2 or 3 times. And they're like, okay, well, what stage do you want? And I'm like, Temple with lasers, and they quit using timed games on me because it would be 30-something to none.
Nice.
And I felt like a badass in Des Moines for a while.
Oh, boss.
But yeah, no, I totally support GoldenEye. GoldenEye's great.
Nice.
Corey, I believe it's your number 6, unless Moose had more to say.
No, I got lost in the conversation about GoldenEye.
Unless Moose had more to say. Moose, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Corey, 6.
Final Fantasy 9. I think is a fantastic JRPG. It was my first Final Fantasy game, so take that with what you will. But
It's gotta be
I know a lot of people say that everybody's first Final Fantasy is their favorite, and well, sorry, it's true for me. I like the characters. I remember reading the Big Game Pro, I think it was the big blue one with Final Fantasy X on the front.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that game looks cool. I'm going to play Final Fantasy 9. PlayStation 2 is backwards compatible. And then I bought 9. And as I was playing 9, I went out and found 7 and 8 as well. And I actually almost put Final Fantasy 8 on this list because I do like that game an awful lot as well. But I think 9 edges it out just because it's a little bit simpler and the characters are more endearing, and I think the story is a little bit better. So Final Fantasy 9 is my number 6.
Okay,
Cool.
So my number 6 is Limbo.
Good choice.
I'll never forget the day I found Limbo. I saw this game that was basically in black and white. I watched a little trailer that didn't really tell you much, and then you just see this little character just die in the most grotesque ways, and I'm like, that's kind of gross. Download. And this is when Xbox Live was really fucking cool. But no, when I played through Limbo and I beat Limbo, like that was the first time a video game story had affected me in the way it did. Like, I'm not going to I didn't cry at the end of Limbo the way some people say they have, but like it was one of those things that like I thought about how everything led to the final moment. And it was a perplexing little puzzle, and I actually I would just sort of grapple with what does all of this mean, and it was an intriguing thing, and I still think that is probably the best puzzle based platformer I've ever played. Now I know that like Super Mario World and others have done puzzle stuff, but none of it really goes into the whole the way Limbo does. And I feel like as far as video games having wasted space, Limbo is one of the few that has absolutely none. It is a beautiful game. A cool story if you want to think about it that way, and because of that, like I've gone back and 100% of that on every platform I've ever owned it on, and I will, and I mean even like when I first met Reba, like she was like so. Because she didn't like know about video games, and she was just sort of interested in knowing about my interests. And I'm like, well, here's how I think about video games. This is how I do it. Blah 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 blah. She's like, well, what are some good examples of that? I'm like, let me show you a game called Limbo. and I actually showed her Limbo. I let her play it, and I wait till she died, and she's completely traumatized that first time you die in Limbo, like everybody is. And then I'm like, okay, so you've seen that. Let's go through the rest, and I'll just help you through the rest. And we actually went through it over the course of that night. And she's like, okay, I see everything you said. I'm not sure I'm thinking about it the same way, but it was cool to see what you meant through the course of that game. And Limbo is like a really cool haunting statement about video games for me, and I treasure it ever since I've played it. And my number 5, since we're here, is actually my favorite JRPG of all time, Persona 4. I put Persona 4, but you could put Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden on the same pedestal. Golden just it doesn't change the game. It adds a couple other sections, and those sections are not filler. They are at the same level as Persona 4 as it was originally released. That game is a cool story. It is a cool. Each character is written very well, and for being a JRPG that is, a genre that is characteristic with a lot of unnecessary grinding, Persona as a series kind of eliminates that by just saying, hey, in order to level up certain things, you have to do certain tasks. And you only have a certain amount of time to get everything done. And so you have choices to make, and everything has a bit of weight to it. Persona 4. Corey, you're number 5.
My number 5 is Gears of War. It's the reason why I bought a 360. It was one of those games that very rarely makes me forget about other games. I played a lot of that game online. It was the first game I got all the achievements in. It was a cool game, and I was at college and in my dorm room, and our people down the hall got an Xbox 360, and they got Oblivion and Gears of War, and I went to check it out, and I had to have one right away. And it was Gears of War was awesome. It's still one of my favorite franchises to this day. I was just playing Gears of War 4 the other day with Jesse Douglas, and it's still really fun. The multiplayer is fun. The weapons are cool. It was awesome. And I still think Gears of War, we actually played it for Squaggles about a month ago, going up sometime in the near future. But I still think that campaign holds up, and those characters are, it looks like a big doofy bro shooter, but sometimes those characters can be endearing, and
but
it's cool. I like it.
I feel like Gears did a good job of moving gaming into more of a grittier setting.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
League, because I was coming off. So I sold my PS2 and my Xbox and GameCube and all that, and I was playing World of Warcraft at the time. And so I bought a 360. I bought the Halo 3 version of the 360, and I think Gears had been out for a while at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought Gears, was playing Gears and Halo 3 at the time, and I was just like, wow, this is a lot grittier. It's almost like you're watching gaming grow up with the age of gamers at the time, because I was older, you know what I mean, and so it was just gaming was becoming more of an adult thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that kids could play it, because there were kids game out there, but it was the point in time where gaming was okay, here's the serious adult stuff for people,
mm-hmm. It was probably the same way a lot of people felt about Metal Gear Solid when they debuted on PlayStation, where okay, I see what you're trying to do here. Games are kind of growing up And, maybe I was a little behind that generation where like I still preferred Mario and Zelda and the Nintendo OE aspects of of games, and even the PS2. Like I think my love of Disney kind of still sways me in that direction a lot sometimes. But Gears was kind of the first time I was like, okay, this is a game for adults. Like kids should not be playing this game, and it is really cool. And not in like the way God of War was like, oh, this is for adults because you can go behind this fence and have a threesome to gain orbs or whatever. This is like a gritty kind of story. So, not that God of War wasn't a great game, because God of War 2 is a fantastic game on PS2, but
yeah. So is the newest one.
I know I gotta finish it.
I know you do, so we can talk about it.
I know.
I'm just. So,
Matt, what's your number 5?
This is a good game.
It's Moose's turn. My number 5 was Persona. Persona 4.
Moose, what's your number 5, Moose?
Moose, what's your number 4? Or no, your number 5?
I think I do my number 5 and then my number 4. So, my number 5
is alive.
Was already on Matt's list.
Can't see him.
Helldivers.
Woo!
Woo!
Number 5 is Helldivers, because God damn, I love that game. I found that game on the rare. So I bought my PS4 in 2014. So like earlier that year, might have been like winter. So like January, February, I started following. I was like, well, I'm gonna buy a PlayStation 4. Like, let me start listening to some podcasts. I don't even know why I said that to myself, but I found Beyond, and I started listening to Beyond. I started following Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty, and Colin was talking about this shooter called Helldivers. And so I'm looking it up, and I'm checking out videos, and he's like, I played it. This game's going to be awesome, all that stuff. And I got pumped for it. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, whatever this game is, I'm going to throw my money at it. Because I think what really sold me on it was it was a twin stick shooter. That's what sold me on it, because I loved twin stick shooters at the time. Because I was playing Zombie Estate on the 360 before I got my PS4, and I played it with my wife in Zombie Estate 2. And so I was looking for a twin stick shooter, and I bought it, and I played that game and nothing else from the day it came out. I believe it came out in March, so it's like March 3rd or March 4th, all the way until I got the platinum. And then beyond that, so like almost into the next year, like that's all I played was Helldivers. And I love that game. I met, like, me and Matt, like, met through that game.
Well, we met playing Rocket League, and then like being like and then like you're
well here's the thing. I think we
had a really good time getting beat by Rudy Regalado, or however you say his last name.
Yes.
We had a good time getting beat by him and his brother or cousin. They were like, so what else do you play? And you're like, do you like Helldivers? I'm like, fucking love Helldivers. He's like, we should play Helldivers. And we played Helldivers.
But here's the thing. Like, at the time, I knew him as Shaniqua. And so, like, he would be on Facebook and posting in the gaming groups being like, yeah, like, I'm playing Helldivers right now. And I'm like, well, add me. And he's like, I think we're already friends. And that's what threw me for a loop. Because, like, his PSN account was completely different than his Facebook account. And I did the math. And then, so, like, we started playing together. And then, throw in Justin Doss into that mix. And then
once Diablo 3 came out, we got Phillips on board.
Oh, and Kat, he started playing it. And, dude, we were playing it every night for, like, 3-4 hours. Every night.
We would get drunk and play Helldivers.
Yeah, like, for a long time. We were in... I want to say it is the second most important multiplayer game in my life. Like, my other one is on the list.
Yeah.
And so, just, we had such a great time, and it solidified our friendship, made good friends, over it. And then, like, everybody I introduced to the game, like, Corey loves the game, like, Jason and Jeff enjoy the game, but, I mean, they haven't they haven't gone back to the lengths that me and Matt and Justin and the Captain Canada play it, but they enjoy what they've played of it. And it's like you keep playing, and I'm really, really hoping that Arrowhead Studios is making Helldivers 2. Like, if they came out with Helldivers 2, I would lose my shit more than Tim Geddes lost his shit over the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. And a shout out to our bro Brian Pelfrey when he lost his shit over Resident Evil 2, like the remaster. I will go fucking nuclear. I think I would lose my mind more so over that than a Bloodborne. Because in all honesty, a Bloodborne 2 is coming. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, Helldivers is kind of like, is it coming? Is it not? And when they finally announce it, I'm going to be like, ah!
Yeah, like Arrowhead's just doing what they do. Like, they're
dark right now.
Yeah.
They haven't really said anything about what they're doing. They haven't updated anything. So I'll bet you there'll be a huge announcement later this year. So that'll be awesome for them. Am I doing my number 4?
Yes.
Yes. My number 4 is Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
God damn, I love that game. So Ocarina of Time was 98, I believe. I graduated in June from high school. My dad, his company was coming down North Carolina, so that was the year we moved to North Carolina, and the only thing I had was Ocarina of Time. So I played Ocarina of Time. I was going to a community college trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to do with my life. You know how it is. And so, like, I remember playing that game and I would get stuck. And me being the idiot that I am, instead of just buying the fucking guide, I would drive to, like, the Barnes & Noble near where I was going to school to read, like, what I had to do on the guide. And then, like, because, like, at that time, you're a young, dumb kid. You don't realize, like, hey, maybe spending $15 on the guide is better than driving out here 3 or 4 times worth of gas. You know what I mean? So, I played Ocarina of Time a lot. Yeah, I know. Dude, I was, like, 19, 20 at the time. I don't know. Fucking stupid. I'm stupid now. But, anyways, enjoyed the hell out of Ocarina of Time. A 3D Zelda. It was an amazing game. Exploration. People hated the water level. In all honesty, like, I didn't notice the hate for the water level online until, like, well after the game had come and gone. And I'm like, I didn't have problems with the water level. So either I didn't care about the problems I had with the water level, or I just didn't have them. So
yeah, like I was the same way. I'm like, man, people hate this. I figured it out relatively easy. Like,
I had more trouble with the Shadow Temple, I think, because, like, I didn't realize you could go back in time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
So that was, like, my big thing was, like, how do I get into this temple? And you have to do a bunch of stuff as young Link. You have to go back in time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't know.
And sadly, I never played Majora's Mask. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I just didn't have the money at the time because I was going to college and trying to focus on that I never picked it up to play it. But I think the next Zelda game after Ocarina of Time that I played was Wind Waker, which I loved Wind Waker. I know a lot of people don't like Wind Waker, but I love Wind Waker. But anyways, so that was my number 4 game. Coy, I believe it's your turn.
It is my turn. My number 4 game, Mass Effect 2.
Yes.
That is a fantastic game.
Okay.
I love the characters. I love the Elusive Man is such a cool villain. Like, and like sometimes is he even a villain? And you kind of explore that in Mass Effect 3. And like, this was another one of those games where it was like, do I put the whole trilogy on here? Do I just pick one of the games? So, Mass Effect 2, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. It's just a cool game. I was really feeling it at the time, and it's still a good game. I actually just purchased it on Xbox One for $5. The
fantastic.
Each game in the trilogy was like $5. So
$15 well spent.
I would say love Mass Effect 2. It was a great game, but I would like to point out that it was the exact point in time in which EA bent BioWare over the table.
Yep.
And broke them.
Yep.
So, and eventually, like, BioWare, that's where BioWare gave up and did what EA wanted them to do. And basically, EA has been running the table on their series. And it will, like, if I in all honesty, I believe Anthem is not going to be as good as they want it to be, and that's what's going to kill BioWare.
Yep, I think EA is going to make them push it out quicker than they want to, and that it's going to be the same thing as Mass Effect Andromeda, where like like I think they did that to Mass Effect 3 too. Although I really liked Mass Effect 3's original ending, just because like I think from like a writer's perspective, it doesn't matter anything that you do, the outcome is going to be the same or similar, and I don't know if that was just like a cop out or whatever, but like, I really liked it.
As far as I know, the only saving grace for Anthem is the fact that the people that made Mass Effect 2, which is not the team that made Mass Effect Andromeda, is the team that is making Anthem. And that is why they could not make Mass Effect Andromeda, was because they were doing Anthem. And so that is the silver lining to that cloud. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that could be the saving grace.
From everything I've heard from that gameplay demo behind closed doors, like Anthem plays great and it feels great to play. And like a lot of people that are comparing to Destiny probably shouldn't, because its leveling system and its gear system is a lot different than Destiny's. But I'm with you, Moose. Like, I think the other big thing about Anthem 2 that a lot of people have already been vocal about is like there's no PvP at all in the game yet, which like I don't care. But
there's also no romance options.
Oh no!
This is my opinion of Anthem. I want to see reviews.
Yep.
You've pretty much sold me. You've gotten me to a point where I'm interested enough where I will look at reviews, and if the reviews are good and it looks like a game I want to play, I'll buy it. If not, I'm not going to buy it. Like you have not sold me on a pre-order.
Here's the thing: I trust BioWare. I don't trust EA with this game.
I agree with you 110%. That's why I love DICE, but I hate that DICE is owned by because they make Battlefield. But I love DICE because I love Battlefield. Oh my god, I love Battlefield, but I hate it that they're running by EA. So.
I really like Star Wars, the Battlefront game. I really liked Battlefront.
The first one, just Battlefront, or
both of them? I like both of them. Like I ended up picking the second one up on a sale about a month ago. It was like $16, and I really like that game. I think the campaign is interesting, although I haven't gotten to the point where people started complaining about it, so I'm not 100% sure. But
yeah, I got that with my PS4 bundle when I upgraded. So
nice.
Anyways, Matt,
my number 4 is a game that introduced me to a genre of games that I had not really played before. It is Spelunky.
I thought you were going to go with
4. I thought that would be higher on the list, but okay.
No, my top 3, my top 3, like one of them has entered the fray relatively recently, but like my top 3 are kind of ironclad. But Spelunky introduced me to roguelikes, and now I have learned enough about that genre of games that like Spelunky technically is not a roguelike because of certain aspects of it. If you go by Roguelike Radio's, Berlin definition of a roguelike.
Which we all do, right?
No.
I don't even know what that means.
If for some reason roguelike fans ever tune into this, I'm not going to do anything to make them mad because they get real defensive about it. I still think Spelunky is a roguelike, and I think it's a very good one, especially for someone like me who had never played one of those before, and now I can't stop playing them. If I had not played Spelunky, I probably wouldn't have played Nuclear Throne. Probably wouldn't have played any of the roguelites, since I would have not touched Binding of Isaac, probably, or at least I probably would have touched Bounce right the fuck off. And yeah, it is a cool fucking genre, and I think Derek, you did something special by making a roguelike platformer in Spelunky. That is my number 4. My number 3 is Diablo 2.
Ooh.
I thought about putting one. I thought about putting 1 and 2 on there. But the reason I didn't was because I played them for about the same amount of time. But what I realized as I was thinking about this, Diablo 2 had way more Diablo in it than Diablo 1, and having played Diablo 1 as long as I did, I had, you know, a sense of the mechanics and a sense of what needed to be done. So I was already adept at like getting through that type of game. Mm-hmm. But Diablo 2 is a thing that is not really, it's not really been properly followed up. I think don't get me wrong, I think Diablo 3 is great. I love the fact that I played the shit out of it with Moose and Captain Canada and Justin Doss and anybody else that joined with us. I think Gideon played with us for a while.
He did, but I don't. If I was going to say, it doesn't have the investment that Diablo 2 has.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I like Diablo 1 and right. Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 specifically are like the games I've probably spent the most amount of hours in. And have
you thought about trying Path of Exile?
I have. I do not have an Xbox. I do not have a PC.
It's coming to PS4 eventually,
and it is coming to PS4 eventually. So either I will get a PC and play it, or I will get it on PS4.
Yeah, because I like, you know Joey.
Yeah,
friend of the show.
If I get a PC anytime soon and get Path of Exile, I will be calling Joey and saying, "Hey, I want to play Path of Exile. Let's do this."
Yeah,
bitches.
Woo!
But yeah, Diablo 2 is awesome. Corey, you're number 3.
I think my top 3 are going to surprise a lot of people.
N++.
No, it's a very good game, but I actually thought about putting it low on my list, but so this is going to surprise you guys too. But my number 3 game,
Island Adventure.
Yep. It's actually Hello Kitty go-karts for Wii U, but it's fine.
Damn.
Horizon.
Wow.
Okay.
That game left quite an impact on me. It was one of those games where I was like, I started playing it, and then I didn't want to play that and Zelda at the same time, and naturally I gravitated more towards Zelda when the Switch came out because, you know, new shiny toy and Zelda. Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
when I started playing that, it does, like you said about Breath of the Wild, Matt. Like Horizon is a game I cannot stop thinking about. Ever since I stopped playing it, I revisited about three or 4 weeks ago the Frozen Wilds. I started the DLC or continued my way through the DLC, and like that game it feels good to play. It feels good to run around. It feels good to trap the robots and watch the wires explode as you dive out of the way. It's cool to choose which arrows you want to take down their armor with before you use the one that actually is going to do damage with. Like, that game is as simple as you want it to be or as deep as you want it to be, and it does such a good job of building a cool character, building a cool world. Fighting robot dinosaurs is just the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that game, it might be like one of the best games of the generation, if not the best for me, in my opinion.
Sure.
Like, I like it more than God of War. I like it more than any of the PlayStation exclusives that are out right now. It's better than any Xbox exclusive that's out right now, and there's very few bad things I have to say about that game, and like, if they fix the one or two issues that I actually had with the game the next time around, like, I don't know, Horizon it's just a fantastic game. I literally cannot wait for that sequel, and if it's on PS5, which I'm sure it will be, like, that's the day I will buy a PlayStation 5 is for that game.
I could see it being a launch game.
Yeah.
With the PS5 being that far out. I'm just throwing it out there. That would be what
that'd be 4 years, right? If it's
2020.
That's 4 years.
Yeah.
And if they build it on the same engine and kind of upgrade the engine and just use the same, not same assets, but you know what I mean. You're using the same engine, so you don't have to build it from the ground up. So that there's a lot of your development cycle out the window. So you can take 4 years and focus on writing the code to do the story and just basically have the same type of gameplay, but like you said, improve a couple of things here or there. The game will be phenomenal.
Yeah.
That one will be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And like fucking Horizon's like a 9 out of 9. So, I mean, a 9 out of 10. But anyway,
9 out of 9.
Well, no, and I thought Horizon did for this generation what The Last of Us did for the last generation. I feel like it took a video game story and made it matter. I thought it was a step forward for video game story writing.
Yeah. Also, like,
on top of giving like users agency over, like what you were saying, combat, and like some of the time, like me playing through the game myself, like I thought some of the best stories were some of the shenanigans I got into while fighting a Thunderjaw.
Yeah,
that won't happen for everybody, but it doesn't. It's not an easily scripted event, especially if you're playing. If you're choosing to step outside your comfort zone and do a different thing.
Yeah, and I also like, they did a lot of things with, just diversity that I think they did the right way. I'm not like out there like screaming from a mountaintop that says we need more women in games. Like, you write the story that you want to write. You write the characters how you see fit. And like, I feel like Ed and I had a conversation about this, I don't know, a couple months ago. And like, they sent a message without like blatantly screaming it on screen, right? They just look, there's black people, there's white people, there's Asian people, there's transgender people, there's gay people in this game. This is just how the world is, and you're just gonna have to deal with it, right? And it was like, I thought it was a really cool way to I loved it. So
when Horizon came out, it was shortly after Reba and I started dating. And I said, well, actually, no, it was after Reba and I started dating. And I said, and we were at like this bar and we saw a commercial for it. I'm like, yeah, you're probably going to lose me for a couple of months to that game. And she said, well, what is it? I'm like, it's called Horizon. You're basically kind of like a Hunger Games type person, we'll call it, because I hadn't played it yet. And you fight robot dinosaurs. And she said, oh, well, that sounds kind of interesting. How about you show it to me? I'm like, all right. And then we, like, granted, after playing that game for a little bit, you learn that it's not that simple. You learn that my perception of it was very pedantic at best. And I played through a lot of it. She liked watching it. She thought it was beautiful to look at. She thought it was a cool thing. On top of that, when we went to PAX Unplugged, like she was kind of skittish on the floor because it's a lot and there's a lot of people and anxiety becomes very real. So she actually went to a panel about diversity in games, and she's like, she was like, yeah, they spent a lot of time talking about Horizon, and I felt like I knew stuff because I had watched you like do a lot of that game. So And you know, it was the fact that, you know, you're seeing people think about it that way, and yeah, Horizon's fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great game.
Like and like you said, they said something without it. None of it was forced. None of it was like, hey, we have gay people here. Hey, black people are here. We have to draw attention to this because that's where we're at. And you know, they just did their thing. They just put the story there. And like and I remember on Platinum Achievements, like Chris Haar and I would get back and forth, not really politically, but like he was like, why is this a deal? And I'm like, look, man, because it is. These people want to be validated. They want to be validated as, you know, citizens of of the human race, and a lot of the times they're just not. Like, no, they're not. And they're treated very poorly by the rest of us. And it's only what's going to happen is there's going to be, and this was before Horizon came out, of course, there's going to be a game that does it without talking about it, and that'll show you that it's fine. And then Horizon came out, and I'm like, see, it does it. It doesn't draw attention to it. It's just there for you to regard and admire. And Horizon, good job, Corey. I'm happy you included that on your list.
Yeah,
I know you didn't do it. I know you didn't do it for either of us. You did it for yourself, and I respect the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It really is. So I think it is Moose's number 3.
I guess I gotta do my number 3 and then my number 2, right?
Correct.
So my number 3 is World of Warcraft. So
out. No, I'm kidding.
OMG. First of all,
I didn't realize Lee Navarro was on the show.
No, World of Warcraft, not StarCraft.
Shit.
Doesn't Lee have like all the special editions of this game?
Yeah, but he won't finish StarCraft because he's afraid to
listen. I haven't played it in a while, so shut your trap and let me talk. First of all,
I want to talk about the Warcraft.
It was 2005, I think it was, and I was moving back in with my parents. I had a MacBook Pro, and I don't think I had a console at the time. And so it was coming off of school and all that stuff, and so I was like talking to a buddy of mine, and he was telling me how he was playing World of Warcraft, and he's like, yeah, this game's great, it's online. My thing was I didn't have any friends that like lived in the area, so I was like, all right, well, I'll play this as my social outlet. And so I bought it for the Mac, dove in, and it's a crazy freaking experience. Like, I think I haven't admitted to myself until like this moment, but I've tried to chase that dragon of like getting the fix of playing an MMO for like the first time. Like, I know I've tried it with Final Fantasy 14, and it was kind of like was and I'm almost giving up on it, but I think I'm still gonna look for something to give me that fix. But like, you're in a world, and like there's people running around, and they're not like NPCs, they're actual people, and they're trying to do their thing, and you're doing your thing, and sometimes your things overlap, so you can join up and be in parties. And sometimes they can be doing their thing, and you're like, hey, I got to collect that thing, and they take all of it, and so you got to sit there and wait for it to respond. But I fell really deep down the hole of World of Warcraft, and so I played, 2005 all the way to 2011. I played for like 6 years. I didn't do any of the hardcore raiding or any of that. I just had a blast with just playing the game. Like, playing the game, doing the quests. In fact, that's where my gamer tag comes from, is World of Warcraft. Because I wanted to use the word... Because so, long story short, I had a... Boars?
Yeah, how many?
Not many. It was the Murlocs. It was Murlocs. I killed the Murlocs once I got to... God, what was that town? Can't remember that town. But the caverns, with thieves, like the Murlocs right off the coast. I killed a shit ton of Murlocs right outside Stormwind. But anyways, so like, I had an old pen and paper character named Svhenn, and what?
I asked if you got the sword of 1,000. I asked if you got the sword of 1,000 truths.
No, I didn't. I was not playing. I don't think I was playing it at that time. But that's hilarious.
No, that's
but
that's a South Park reference.
Yes, no, I know what that is. I fucking know what that is. I'm just moving along. But so I had a pencil and paper character from my old RPG days that was named Svhenn Thomas, and I tried to pick that name, and there's a motherfucking Svhenn in Duskwood, and like you can't name your character after somebody that's in the game, and so I had to spell it differently, and lo and behold, fucking God knows how many years later, here I am. Yeah, I'm Svhenn. And so it, like, I've gone back to it. I've gone back to the game. The last time I gone back to the game was when my high school buddy who played GoldenEye and Mario 64 with me, he moved in for a year and he had a laptop, and I played it on his laptop with the Pandora edition where you got to play as a panda. And I was having fun, but not as much fun as I did. But like, just World of Warcraft was an awesome experience. Just getting with friends and like at the time I was working a job. I was working second shift, so I was working from 3 o'clock till 11 o'clock. So I would get home, and I'm not going to go to bed at 12 o'clock when I get home. So I'm going to sit and play some video games for a while. So I would sit there and play World of Warcraft, and have a good time playing that. But that was like 2 years of doing that on the second shift of my life. So I had a good time with it. It's a good story. A lot of fun there. I got my favorite class, which I still want to get a tattoo tied to it, but the Paladin. Love Paladins. That was my favorite class in the game because they're a great hybrid. They can do DPS, they can heal, and they can tank. So, but that's my number. It's my number 3 is World of Warcraft. I think y'all could probably guess what my number 2 is. I'm gonna throw it out there. Y'all want to guess what my number 2 is? No.
Dark Souls.
No.
Let's see. You're number 2.
Chasm.
I think I'm gonna have to let Matt guess this because he's probably pretty well educated on it.
Let's see. You've already done Helldivers.
Mm-hmm.
You've already done Borderlands. You've already Skyrim.
Winner, chicken dinner. Yes, my number 2 is Skyrim.
Skyrim job.
God, I didn't start playing Skyrim till I think the year after it came out. So, backstory: it came out in 2011. I picked it up and I tried playing it and was just like, I can't get into this. So I put it on the shelf. I didn't return it. I didn't really trade in at that time at GameStop, and so my roommate, just screaming pimp from high school, came and lived with me for a year. He was like, dude, you need to play Skyrim. Because he was playing it on 360, and he was like, and I had it on 360, and he's like, this game is amazing. You will love it. And I was going through my divorce at the time. Anyway, so he moved in, and he sat with me while I was playing and was like giving me some tips on what to do, on how to further. And I played that game nonstop. I think that's the longest I've ever played a game nonstop. Like, just that's all I played was Skyrim. And God, it was like 6 months to a year. It was insane. But loved the story was kind of okay. But I love the fact that the world was like so huge and it built upon the other stories. Like, like you would go into a cave for one thing and you'll find a quest item for another thing. You know what I mean? Or you'll think you're solving a puzzle with something and it links to something else. And the combat system was great in it. I did a two-handed, stealthy, heavy armor archer, which was really weird. It was really, really weird. Like, I would sneak around with my bow and arrow, and if I couldn't kill you with my bow and arrow, I would just switch to my two-handed mace and just, like, beat your fucking face in with it. But that was pretty much what I did. Yeah, as you do. And so played a crap ton of Skyrim. And then obviously when it came out on PS4, I was extremely excited. Bought it on PS4 day one, and then I platinumed it. Like, so it came out in November, so I platinumed it like that next February. But anyways, I knew when it came out, when they did the remaster, I was going to get the platinum. I'm like, I'm going to work for this. And I looked back, because at the time, I hadn't played my 360 in like forever. I was really close to having a 1,000 out of 1,000 gamer points on my 360 from playing that game. I just needed to do like a couple things here or there, and I would have had it. But at the time, I didn't give a crap about them because gamer score is fucking worthless without trophies. Word. But anyways, that's my number 2 choice for favorite game of all time.
Corey,
who's next? Corey, you're up.
My second favorite game of all time is Turtles in Time for Super Nintendo.
Okay.
I don't know why,
Nice.
but for some reason, I thought that might be one.
Yeah, I
thought like
Okay.
I was sitting there. Either he's gonna lean into this Twilight Princess bullshit, or it's gonna be Turtles in Time. So I'm curious
Okay.
for what your number 1 is now. But talk to us about Turtles in Time. It's one of the great beat 'em ups of all time.
yeah, and there's actually a Sega equivalent called Hyperstone Heist, which is just as good, or I some aspects of that game are better than Turtles in Time. I think Turtles in Time was on Super Nintendo, and everybody loves Super Nintendo, so like that game gets the credit. And I actually almost put Hyperstone Heist in this place, but it's just it's the best incarnation of what people want from Turtles, and the arcade version was okay, it was fine, but the Super Nintendo made the changes I think that game needed.
Yeah.
I thought the aspect where you could put on comic mode or normal or cartoon mode was cool, where like in comic mode, all the turtles were different colors, and Donatello was brown like he was in the comics, and Michelangelo was this light green, and it was a cool aspect of the game that wasn't really available anywhere else. And if you weren't familiar with the comics, you're like, what is this? Why are they weird colors? So
what is going on here, sir?
I like the way you can throw enemies into the screen, and they just kind of slide down the screen from. I think the boss battles are cool. I still think like the Slash fight when you go in prehistoric and have to dodge the dinosaurs and fight the rock people and fight Slash. I still think that's one of the coolest boss fights. The Super Shredder boss fight on Ultra Hard is really hard. Very difficult, but yeah, Turtles in Time is awesome. It's one of my favorite co-op games. I wish they somehow, some way, the Super Nintendo version could be re-released in HD somehow with 4-player co-op. Somehow, I don't like they remade it for Xbox Live Arcade and PS4 or PS3, whatever, and the reshelled edition. It was fine. But it wasn't the Super Nintendo version. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, Turtles in Time and Hyperstone Heist, essentially the same game. But yeah,
nice.
So,
Matt,
my number 2, probably not much of a surprise. Demon Souls.
That's not a surprise at all.
I almost did what Corey did, where I had Demon Souls and Dark Souls, but I chose Demon Souls because if you like comparing Demon Souls and Dark Souls, Dark Souls is a series, Demon Souls is something. Demon Souls has a cool kind of presentation to it that the Souls series hasn't done since. Like I know with loading screens and everything, now you get items and item descriptions. But in Demon Souls, you got pictures of you got like dramatic pictures of the NPCs, and they were presented very well. And even the ones that didn't do much for you, like Satsuki or Yurt, it was like they were given like some form of meaning. And I really liked that. And then on top of that, the NPCs in Demon's Souls are just fucking cool. Like you have Mephistopheles in there. You have you have a witch named Yuria, like in Dark Souls 3, but they're not the same. You have a brother and sister story that's really cool. I think Maneater Mildred from Dark Souls is actually in there as well. It's just been long enough that I've forgotten a lot of it. But like some of the NPCs in Demon's Souls are some of the coolest that From Software has done. The level design in Demon's Souls is done really well, and I feel like the only entry in Dark Souls that has really attempted to do Demon's Souls is Dark Souls 2, because that's where you have the hub world and everything sort of expands from that. Bloodborne kind of does it where you go to the Hunter's Dream and then you teleport to different places. You don't walk from the Hunter's Dream to the rest of the world like you do in Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
That said, I think the Maiden in Black is cooler than the Emerald Herald and cooler than any leveling up character. Since I think some of the boss battles in Demon's Souls are among the best that they've done, and like it's funny if you go, like there are a lot of videos on YouTube that like rank the Souls bosses or rank like or rank like the entire series, and they give Demon's Souls and Bloodborne such little weight. It's kind of annoying. Like that, you'll get like maybe 2 bosses from Bloodborne and 1 boss from Demon's Souls, and it's usually like, in my opinion, the incorrect choice from Demon's Souls, because like King Allant, the one of the last bosses you fight, is a fucking tough fight, and it's not like he's a relatively dynamic character. It's very similar to fighting humanoid characters in Dark Souls or Bloodborne. But he has an attack that can de-level you.
Is that the one that challenges you to a fight? That challenges you to like? Never mind.
No. Go ahead.
I'm thinking of like a boss that's a. Did you say king? Is he a king?
Yeah. He's king. He's king.
Like, he's basically like, it's not like a boss fight. Like you walk in like through a boss fight. Like you encounter him and then he like challenges you to best him or something like that.
Oh no! That's no. I know who you're talking about. But no, King Allant is definitely a boss fight. It's and I think it's probably one of the coolest boss fights ever. I've played through Demon's Souls enough, and like, because I love it so much, I'm still hoping for that Blue Point announcement. And if
wasn't made, but we got the rest of the year, man.
I hope so.
The rest of the year.
I hope so. But yeah, Demon's Souls is my number 2. And now
I just like to remark.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, never mind.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say with Miyazaki announcing his new game, which is a new IP, I will state right here, Bloodborne 2 is a launch title for the PS5.
PS5. Okay, I'll let you have that.
Anyways.
My number 1 stretches all the way back 31 years ago.
Deep deep in that gaming chasm.
In the recesses of the 1980s. It is actually one of the. It is the only.
Going back.
It is one of the only times I've ever received a gift that seemed like an absolute religious experience. Because when I opened this box and I saw that gold fucking cartridge, I knew. I felt like Arthur holding Excalibur. I looked at this and I said, and I think I looked at my parents and said, "This is important." And then I literally didn't open any other gifts. I went to my Nintendo, pushed the game in, and said, "We're doing this." The adults went to eat, and like my friends, we all played The Legend of Zelda. And some of them, got Nintendos before me. That's fine. And some of them got Legend of Zelda later on. But the one thing we did all the time is we carried that map that came in the case, and we would actually talk about like what we had done where and what led to different things. And like when we were I think in the last episode, in episode 100, Moose mentioned something about the original Legend of Zelda being one of the first games with artificial bloat. And I didn't really think that, because I don't think making exploration a thing is artificially bloating. Because games are finite. You only have so many places you can go in a certain game. Even in like a roguelike, you only have a certain amount of places you can go. Like it's not infinite. And finding new dungeons, or the first time one of us found what was in the Lost Woods, I think that was the Blue Ring, where you go up and right and up and right. I think that takes you to the Blue Ring. Sure, I think so. It's been long enough since I played it. But The Legend of Zelda is my favorite game of all time, because of that, where all of us were sitting on the playground or in between, or we would bring the maps out at lunch and just say, okay, I've been here, 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 and here recently, and I found you can move this bush, you can use the candle to burn this one, and there's stairways, and then you get that dickhead. It was like, oh, you didn't go here and do this thing because that gives you like the best weapon ever, so you can just basically walk through the rest of the game. And then all of us are doing that. We're like, man, fucking John Campbell, Jesus shit. Why do we talk to him? Fucking liar. He makes us bad deals on our lunches. He makes us trade away our Twinkies for his bullshit. And then he tells us lies. Like, what the hell?
He doesn't make you. You willingly do it.
Yes, but
see the patches. You see the patches.
Yeah, when you are in third grade, they made you do it. It doesn't matter. But no, The Legend of Zelda is still one of the. I still think about that as one of the most fun times I've ever had with a game. And Breath of the Wild is the best thing that's happened to Zelda since that one. Corey.
Well, I'm going to take a page out of your book, Matt, and say that a Zelda game is also my favorite game of all time.
Link to the Past.
Breath of the Wild.
It came out 30 years later.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is... I sat and I was like, do I like this game this much? Is it going to be like... Is it still too soon? Is it still like... we're a year and a half out, but I'm like...
Too soon.
We're also 18 months out after launch. 17, 16 months after launch. And I still think about that game all the time. Like, I still think about it all the time. And I still think about starting a new game.
Yeah.
Like, starting a new game and going and redoing all the shrines and doing all the towers and stuff. And, like, I think about it all the time. I'm like, this was like the best Zelda experience I've had in a long time that, you know, I haven't really been frustrated with. I haven't been tied to some event in my life, hasn't been tied to like a holiday or friends playing it or whatever. Like, this is just I'm sitting here on my couch, I'm playing my Switch, I'm exploring this world, I'm being rewarded for exploring. It's not open world for open world's sake. It's and I'm just like, this game is a game that I think I will think about for the next 5, 10, 15 years. The way it's the think about Ocarina of Time or The Link to the Past. Like, this is the game that I'm going to be thinking about. It's like, really, like, you know, when we did Game of the Year in December, I knew we were going to talk about this at some point, and I was like, you know what, this year, not only did I get two of the best games this past year, but, you know, those two games made my favorite games of all time list. You know, that being Horizon and Zelda. And, you know, I wouldn't trade my Zelda experience for anything. You know, I wanted to find all 900 Korok seeds. I wanted to play the DLC. I wanted to do everything, and I did. I literally did everything in that game except for play Master Mode, and I've thought about dipping into Master Mode. I tried it, you know, for like 15 minutes to see how hard it was, and I was like, yeah, this is real hard. You come out of the cave and there's some bokoblins shooting you from these hot air balloons, and it's not fun. But you literally have to sprint down the hill to find cover to talk to the old man. But yeah, Breath of the Wild is an amazing game. It is it also marks the change in Nintendo for, like, we're not going to stick to what we know. We're going to try something different. We're going to do the research. We're going to see what people like about these open world games, and we're going to put our spin on it. And, you know, call me a Nintendo fanboy, call me whatever you want, but, like, I think the Breath of the Wild is a special game, you know, regardless of it being Zelda or not. So yeah, Breath of the Wild is my number one game.
And I don't think either of us would really take issue with that. I mean, it was like, yeah, last year was fucking great. Like, last year was a special year.
Yeah.
And like, we were like, even with our E3 episode this year, we were talking about like how this was kind of a downer year. I think it was just, we came up, we're still thinking about 2017 and how awesome it was, and nothing that came out of E3 was even close.
Yeah.
I still think I think Moose is right. The best thing to come out of E3 was Hollow Knight on Switch. Like, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a 2017 game. So
yeah.
Like, and yeah, no,
I mean, nothing against Hollow Knight. It looks
great.
Yeah,
not
like,
at all. Not at all.
And by all accounts, it's a great game. But like, when an indie game like that, and don't get me wrong, there's been great indie games that have won Game of the Year or whatever. But like, when that's what you're talking about coming out of E3 and not something like Death Stranding or Days Gone or Last of Us or, you know, Smash Brothers, like, you're talking about Hollow Knight, like, that
speaks volumes, man.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, it was a great game. I still, like, I wanted to put it on my list. I enjoyed my time with Breath of the Wild, but I can't, like, I had some issues with it. I just can't put into words right now, and so I need to, like, think about it a little bit more so I can elaborate on it, onto why it was not on my list. I just think I love the game. It's a great game, but I don't think it had an impact. Right. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, as a Zelda fan, I feel like, you know, people would expect it to be on my list because it is an amazing game and all that. But then I think what happens is once I beat it, I look back and not, you know, Corey's got his list. That's awesome. He had an amazing time with it. But, like, I have some, like, it's got some flaws that I'm like, I got some problems with. you know, and so like it took it from being a 10 out of 10 to maybe like an 8 out of 10. You know, like still an amazing time, but I'm like, yeah, this is shit. You know, like not the game, but some of the aspects of the game, and right. I just can't. You know,
yeah. And
there's reasons why it's not my number one. So
don't get me wrong. I had some issues with the game too, but I think my experience with the game and everything that I loved about the game kind of overpowered what I didn't like about it. And you know, some people can't get over what they don't like, and some people can just excuse it. You know, like for example, you know, Moose, your number 2 game is Skyrim, right? And like, you know, that by no means is that a perfect game, but your experience with that game you love that game because of your experience with it, and that's my thing with Zelda is like
there's exactly, and that's why we have our own lists. Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, like I don't think the Divine Beasts were anything to write home about. I think they might be some of the weakest dungeons Zelda's ever had.
Yes.
But you know, the shrines are some of the strongest puzzles Zelda's ever had. You know, I mean, there's some cop outs like the fighting ones are kind of like there might be too many of these or whatever. But like, you know, and then fighting the those big rock monsters was cool. The one-eyed Hinox guys was cool. Grinding out monster parts to build better armor was fun. Building Terrytown was such a crazy.
Terrytown's so good.
That was cool. Yeah, that was a good quest. Like I just kind of stumbled into it, and I'm like, oh, wait, I have to what? And I bought this house, and then I go to this area where like, you know, it says there's a shrine here, but then it's like a town that you have to build, and it was crazy. Like that whole side quest was crazy, and I don't know. There's so many different moments in that game that were, and like making Zelda an interesting character. Like I know a lot of people for some reason had a bad taste in their mouth with her voice acting. I'm like, it's fine. You know, it's not like the best voice acting, but it's not bad. Like whatever. Yeah. I thought, you know, making her a cool character and the champions were cool. Like I don't know. I really felt that game was endearing and was actually like I started feeling about those characters how I felt about Midna and Twilight Princess, but like there's more characters and more experiences with these characters, and watching all the memories in order was cool, and you know, so
I mean, my favorite aspect about it is like, or at least one of the more memorable parts of Breath of the Wild specifically is like when I was playing this. And Reba like saw me play it on Wii U, and I'm like, you think? She's like, oh, well, this looks pretty. Like I'm like, you want to do something fun? And she said, okay, let's do something fun. I went to a pot and started cooking, and like she heard the cooking music because the cooking music's amazing, and I'm like, okay, you like to cook. Help me cook stuff. What do you think would go together? And like, instead of actually going and looking for recipes, I would actually just find all the food I could get a hold of, and I would save it. And I would actually like say, hey, Reba, I've got like a full inventory of food. We got to do some cooking.
Yeah.
And I would literally just hand her the controller, or like even when I got it on Switch, I'd be like, time to cook. And she had a blast doing that. And you know, and I did the whole you need to make me a sandwich because that would be fun. And she said, I'm not going to do this then. And I'm like, okay, don't make me a sandwich, just cook in Zelda. And she's like, all right, I'll do that. And then you know, that was a cool bit of discovery because like she would put, and she thought like it was funny that when you put things that should go together and you still get like the pixelated food, whatever it was called, that you like shouldn't eat. And I'm like, yeah, that's because it's a video game. But like, yeah, no, I'm Breath of the Wild is a special thing, and I had some issues putting it on my list, even at number 9, because we are 18 months out. Like, that's soon. But the one metric I went by is like, these are the games I've had the most fun with. Have I played better games? Sure, but this isn't I'm not calling this the 10 best games of all time, because I feel like us would have a lot more overlap if we did.
Yes.
And that's why I chose favorites rather than best. Corey, anything else to say on Breath of the Wild? I know we kind of hijacked you.
No, I just, I also really liked using the Wolf Link amiibo to just having, like, I'm a sucker for having a dog companion in games, and that was, like, the closest thing I got to that. So.
Well, nice. You should play Fallout.
I was going to say Fallout 4 would be, he could have a dog companion.
I played New Vegas, but
you had dog meat in 3 too, but he died real quick and you couldn't revive him, whereas in 4 you can.
Fallout 4 is on Game Pass now for Xbox.
Yeah, so. And you can give him armor. Like, he's adorable. He's great. So the final number 1, Moose, take us out of here.
My Little Pony.
Bloodborne. I was looking at the list today, and I was like, man, well, number 1, I was like, yeah, I should probably put this list together. And so, now hear me out. My list was put together. So, like, in all honesty, if I had a video showing, like, all the games I played over time, not even, like, the amount of time I played, just, like, here's a snippet of everything you played, my list would probably be completely different. But what I'm working off is my memory and, like, what I really remember in playing games. And so, Bloodborne is the only game I can think of that I would want to go back and platinum twice. For God's sakes, I'm platinuming it on a second account. Mm-hmm. So that's how much I love the game. And I bought it on the holiday sale in 2015. And I think I started playing it in like May or June of 2016. And you and I were rip-roaring through Helldivers, and we were talking about it, and talking about Bloodborne and all that stuff. And you're like, oh, I'll help, we'll play through it together, and I'll help you platinum it and stuff. At the time, I was like, oh, Matt's a great man. He's awesome. He's going to help me out. Little did I know it was Matt being fucking patches going, I'm going to push you down this well as far down as I'm down it.
I kick you into the nothingness that is the Tomb of Giants.
That's right.
And here you are.
Right. And so I played it. God, I played it a lot. We played it a lot together as well. We did platinum it together. Worked through the DLC. I had a tremendous amount of fun with the game. I think also I know a lot of people give Dark Souls games shit because, like, they think their storytelling is crap, but it's like, no. Like, I think Bloodborne did a great job of coming back to where video games were in, like, the NES generation. Because, like, when I think of games, I think of, like, okay, Ocarina of Time, and I think that was the turning point for me where, like, I'm playing, not Ocarina of Time, but Wind Waker, and I'm like, they're holding my hand. They're telling me where I need to go, like, there's a fine line where you have to walk there of, like, helping the gamer and making it super easy, or, like, just throwing the gamer in and, like, making them figure it out. And I think that's what Bloodborne and, previous to that, the Dark Souls series did, because if memory serves me correctly, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2 came out before Bloodborne.
Correct.
And so, like, they were moving in that direction where it was like, no, we're not going to tell you anything. You have to figure out what's going on. And not only that, but it builds a community. because you're going out there to the interwebs and you're like, okay, I found this. What does this do? And people are like, oh, well, this does that, and you can find people who are playing through the game and enjoying as much as you are. In my personal opinion, having recently beat Dark Souls, Bloodborne by far beats Dark Souls. I will pick that game any day of the week over Dark Souls. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still mulling over my feelings about Dark Souls. I don't even know if I could talk about that like 3 to 6 months from now. So it's weird.
I feel like a buddy of mine when I worked at Tower, he and I used to have this conversation. We used to talk about the band The Smiths a lot. He didn't like The Smiths because he heard Morrissey's solo stuff first. Mm-hmm. So he liked the stuff he heard first.
Well, yeah.
And right. I feel like this is that situation. Like you went to Bloodborne first.
I don't know if that's that.
But see, here's the thing. Like, I feel like if I had played Bloodborne first, I'd probably be where you're at.
Okay.
Like right. I as someone who played everything chronologically, like, yeah, I could see. I totally understand that, like, and that's probably why Demon Souls is mine,
right?
Because
right.
It was the first one, like right. It was the first one I did.
On a side note, it's the best Castlevania game that Konami never made.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it improves. So having played Dark Souls 3, a lot of it's different from Dark Souls 3 that I think is cool. Having played Dark Souls, there's a lot of Dark Souls in it. I think it is, we have mentioned it, it's one of the best co-op games on PlayStation 4. Mm-hmm. If you're not playing it co-op, you're doing it wrong. Unless you're trying to get the platinum by yourself, which is fine.
Do you?
Whatever. I mean, I will, people want to say, oh, well, you didn't get the platinum. There were a lot of fights that Matt and I were in, and Matt left me with like 3/4 health. Through no fault of his own. He just got shit on by the boss.
Yeah.
I had to fight the boss the rest of those 3/4 of health. So, there were a lot of fights where I had to work through it myself, but we were still co-oping. And if I died, it was like, all right, let's reload, let's go again. And anyone who's playing Bloodborne and wants some help, let me know. I will help you in an instance. It's still on my PS4. In all honesty, I will never delete that game from my PS4. But it's just such a great game. Like you even when you start out, you're just like, what is going on in this world? And it makes you want to dive in. And Vati Vidya on YouTube does a great, even of Dark Souls
videos. Yeah,
he does tremendous lore videos, and you're like, oh my god, the backstory of this is amazing. And also, not only is it the best Castlevania game that Konami didn't make, it's also one of the best H.P. Lovecraft games that was ever made. So it's got really good lore. I think I talked about it when we was talking about Dark Souls. Like you always have that boss that you feel sad about. This was the first boss that I felt sad about in a Dark Souls game or Soulsblade game, and that was Vicar Amelia. Like you just feel tremendous amount of, like loss for her, and mm-hmm. she's just trying to do the right thing, and it just doesn't go right for her, and you're just like that's saddening. You know what I mean? Because that happens a lot in the world. People are just trying to do the right thing, and they can't, and it's out of their control. And it just, makes you feel really sad about it. But 10 out of 10. I'd love to see a sequel, obviously, because I'm such a huge fan of it. But we've got a Samurai game coming out from Miyazaki, so that'll be entertaining. So, I hope although him and Studio Japan are doing that VR game, so hopefully they move right into a Bloodborne sequel, and that'll be either a launch title for PS5 or a title shortly after that, So,
getting back to what you said about storytelling, I feel like those games tap into something that it taps into a very similar quality that humanity learns about its origins with.
Yeah.
Because look at how we've talked about Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He goes looking for artifacts, and essentially the weapons and items you pick up in those games are artifacts, and they have their own little history. And you don't get, and from an artifact, you never get the full story. And that's kind of a brilliant thing, the way that From Software does that. And they give you enough, but leave you enough holes that you can, someone like a Vati Video or an Epic Name Bro or somebody like that can just fill in the gaps with theories, and a lot of it, and very different theories can make sense at the same time, even if they contradict each other. And it's a special thing, and it's not something that everybody can do, because I love Scott Studios' Salt and Sanctuary, but it's not the same.
No, I think From Software does a great job, like you said, of just here's our story, and whatever you come up with, it works. You create your own story, and that's kind of really, if you go back to RPGs and pencil and paper, your Dungeons and Dragons, you're trying to tell your own story. Exactly. You're not trying to experience another person's story, although your dungeon master is kind of creating one for you, but you're involved in it. It's not something you're experiencing from third person, like Witcher or whatever. So Dark Souls is you're starting out as whatever you're starting out as, and you're experiencing the world first person. And I think they do a tremendous job at that, and they do a great job, as like you said, allowing multiple theories to not necessarily be right, but not necessarily be wrong. They can coexist. Yeah, they both work, and you're wow, that's cool. But as a player, and for my life experiences or whatever, as my gaming experience, this is the one that I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool.
And having said what you just said, it also puts a nice spin on the video games as art. Because one of the things they say about art is it has to be you bring yourself to it and everything you have to it, and if you do that to a FromSoft game, you're coming out of it very differently.
What was his name? Ebert said video games wasn't.
Well, he did say that, but towards the end of his life, he kind of walked that back, because he, like most people outside of video game fans, when you say the two words video game, they're thinking of a couple of things. They're thinking of a plumber stomping on things that look like mushrooms with feet, or they're thinking about a gun sticking out of the bottom right-hand corner of a screen just murdering things.
That's true. You are right on that.
Or they're thinking about Pac-Man or asteroids or whatever, but they're not thinking about how any of that can tell a story. And I feel like Ebert, he started to come around at the end. I'm not going to say he died thinking video games were art, but at least he was open to the discussion rather than just going, no, these are dumb and a waste of time. Yeah, and I feel like that's the way you approach this, because it would be easy for any of us to say, oh, what's Journey then?
Right.
But then a non-video game player comes to Journey going, well, it's good music and a thing in a cape.
Right, and so I think I don't think video games are there as far as being, art on that level. The problem is there's still a lot of growth for video games.
Oh yeah,
storytelling-wise,
definitely.
Just because it's still a young medium. It's still an extremely young medium. And so what people are doing with it, Last of Us was leaps and bounds to what was going on, the previous generation for for video games and storytelling and all that. And even though I hated the gunplay in that game, you need to play that game for the story. Like, the story is amazing. I had a lot of fun with it, and I recommend it. And so, there's other games out there that are great for storytelling and that you can consider art. I would consider people, I shit on Witcher 3 for its shitty-ass controls, but that's a work of art. Like, I will be honest, I enjoy that world. When I go into that world, even though I hate the controls, like, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. It's beautiful. The depth is freaking insane in that game. And then the stories that they're telling is crazy. And, I think, like, people like to distill it down to, like, well, video games aren't art. And it's like, well, no, some motherfucker who's an awesome motherfucker had to sit there and draw that world. Like, they had to, like, write the code so that it would look the way, like, that blade of grass looks like a blade of grass because some dude wrote the code to make it look like a blade of grass. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you can't, I think in the most distilled form of the world, it's not art. You can't say that because someone has to be an artist. Like, artists are involved in all the games that are out there. But as far as, like you said, you bringing yourself to the piece and experiencing something different, yeah, some stuff is not. Like, Black Ops, like, no. I'm not going through like an existential experience, like, looking at that quote unquote artwork like I would like the Mona Lisa or
But Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah.
Now we're having a different conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, I know Corey's getting bored. I know the listeners are probably like, these motherfuckers have gone way too long.
We've been going for well over 2 hours, and I am not going to make us do 20 questions tonight because that was a very productive discussion. We went some places, we did some things, we talked some games, and I feel like we should wrap it up there. I feel like we will end on a high note with Bloodborne being Moose's favorite game of all time. And for anybody keeping score at home, mine was the original Legend of Zelda, and Corey's was Breath of the Wild.
Woo!
So
it is a good game. Play it.
Two Zeldas and a Bloodborne, and I think this is one of those topics we could probably revisit another time, like far off in the future, and we'll probably have different 10s, or we'll look at it differently. And I like how just changing times can cause that discussion to be revisited. But for now, this has been episode 101 of Nerds Gone Rogue. I am Matthew Keel at @infinite_rewind on every social media platform I choose to be on. Find me there. Find me on ngrradio.com. Find us on B-Sides on youtube.com/ngrradio. You could find Svhenn or Moose, whichever one he wants to be that day. Where?
You can find me at Svhenn, SVHENN, on PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, if I'm on there ever, Twitter, and Instagram.
If you sign into Xbox Live, I'm pretty sure Marshall's going to fire you.
Probably. You can find me hosting the Nerds Gone Rogue family podcast, Nerds Gone Platinum. You can find us every Thursday morning at 7 or 8. We also have a challenge video up every Tuesday, I think. And then I really need to get that down. But anyways, you can tweet us at NG_platinum. What you're playing, if you got any questions for the show on Twitter. But you can also email us at nerdsgoneplatinum@gmail.com. And we'll read your stuff on the show. But yeah,
Corey,
that's it. Corey, where can we find you, sir?
Take us home.
You sexy little beast.
Yeah, that's me. A little.
He's taller than both of us.
Yeah, baby.
You can find me at CoreyNHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on Nintendo Pal Block and a plethora of other content here on Nerds Gone Rogue. check out ngrradio.com for all of our content, and like, subscribe, and share to our YouTube page, youtube.com/ngrradio. Check out NGR Radio B-Sides on Thursdays at noon. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Download this podcast on your podcast service of choice, including Spotify. You can now stream it there, and iHeartRadio. You can also stream it there.
Tell a friend.
Yeah, tell all of your friends, and then.
Well, I mean, just the ones who like video games.
Nope, tell them all.
I mean, okay, all right, fine. Tell them all.
Okay.
Tell them all.
Tell them all. Let them make it.
Subscribe. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next week, we love you.
Woo! Banana and out.
You're welcome.
We are going to go global.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, what's up?
Binding of Isaac 4 Souls announced.
I know. I'm looking at that right now. Do we know what it is?
It says it's probably a board game.
Yeah, probably a board game, which I mean, you have my attention.
That's interesting. Huh. Cool.
Oh, no. I didn't post it.
Well,
pop it out the chat because I want to be able to talk to people.
I want to be your best friends.
Hey, Andy Cool's here. What's up, man? Finally made it on time. No, you're always on time. You get here when you need to. You get here when you can, and you're always on time.
What up?
Wow, it's 2001 all over again.
Goddamn.
I love the show. So much fun.
I know.
dude, Todd sent me so much stuff.
About what?
Porn? Does he send you porn? Tell him not to.
Yeah, he sent me porn.
Why'd Todd send you porn?
No, he sent me a cord for like Xbox One S and X for the Kinect, and then he sent me a whole bunch of other stuff with it. Like he sent me a T-shirt, he sent me a whole bunch of little trinkets. Like Todd's the man.
Yeah, he kind of is.
That guy, he's the man.
Chat.
You and your
Bam. Do the same. Sit here and chat.
Okay.
I was so just before we go on, not that people can't not hear me, but in doing my list, I was like, well, maybe I'll think about it more and take more away and add more to. And I was like, nope, not gonna happen. I'm satisfied with what I picked, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you asked me, like, because I did this a couple days ago, I'm pretty sure if you asked me to do it today, it would be different than the 10 I have.
Now, are you looking for a specific order? or can it be like any number? Like, do I have to put it in order? Because I'll take time and put it in order.
I mean, I did. I'm not gonna. Hey, Deshaun's in the chat. What's up, Deshaun?
I put mine in order.
I put mine in order, but like,
I'll do it while you talk about World Cup.
Just do me a fucking favor. Just mention your all-time favorite last. That's all. That's all that matters.
I could do that.
Because really,
that's going to be a struggle, but
it's that one and 9 people that it's that one and 9 others that belong in that conversation. Like that's really what it is.
Right,
so,
it is. Right.
I actually have 5 honorable mentions as well.
Oh yeah, I was gonna rapid fire mine.
Yeah, I mean, I had more than that, but I'm like, well, I don't want to spend too much time on.
I'm looking at my honorable mentions, and I can already think of 10 that aren't on there. So, yeah. Okay, so let's get this B-side going, and we could talk about the greatest sport of all of them.
Oh, darts, bowling. I didn't know you were into bowling.
Corey Deering with the comedy, ladies and gentlemen.
Cricket.
You got jokes in. No, fuck you, man.
That guy's a knee slapper.
There are only like 6 countries in the world that actually really like cricket. Actually, there's probably like 12, but those 12 are that's it for cricket.
You know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles taught me about cricket.
Yeah, but Michelangelo also says a crumpet wouldn't play cricket. Or was that Raphael?
That was Raph.
Okay, whatever. I remember the movie. I remember Casey Jones and his stupid cricket mallet.
What a great film that is.
Is that the first one or the second one?
It's the first one.
Okay.
Well, you guys talk about that. I'm going to grab beer, so I don't have to do it. Well, whatever.
Well, see, he's about to open up the B-side. That you could at least
you can just say woo, and then you can mute.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna do. I was gonna be like, this is how much I care about the World Cup, and just
World Cup.
Woo! Like that's what I was gonna do. So, anyways, let's do it.
All right, B-sides. Woo! Wearing my Figment shirt. Best Disney character ever made.
Dark Souls and Gorillas.
Nice.
I volunteer shirt for the Special Olympics of Cabarrus County. So,
hey, giving it back.
I try.
All right, B-sides.
Or were you trying out? Oh,
nah. I was trying to help keep some kids organized.
Kids aren't organized. All right, here we go. B-sides. Woo!
Woo!
Okay.
It's multiplayer. It's not something I've made before. It's not a battle royale. It can be played on something almost everyone owns. It features art by fans of Isaac. It plays nothing like Zelda the Four Swords. It won't be on console. It's a social game. You may lose friendships over it, but may also find love. I got to make it with my wife. I got to make it with my wife, Danielle Rama, but Tyler Gleal did help with some of the aspects of its design.
Board game.
Yeah, this is probably a board game. I wonder if he's kickstarting it. I mean, cool. Hopefully, once Reba is done with grad school, she'll have time for board games with me. That would be nice. I'll be honest, and I hope Phillips is still with us. I'm surprised you didn't notice what's up here, man. I figured you'd
I'm
say
sure
something.
he saw it. I saw it. So. Yeah.
Well, actually, both of these two, because there's Baroness right there and Mastodon right there.
I like Baroness more than Mastodon, so that's personal preference.
No, I agree with you there. I apologize. was watching the Jays game, but I commented earlier on how much I love those albums. Yeah, I know you did. I saw. But yeah, I need to get more Baroness. I only have this one, and I just got it today. But I need to get more of them. Their albums are so good. Yeah, that's good, Andy. You should. Mastodon's a really good metal band, as is Baroness. Yeah, I know this new Baroness album. It's not out yet, is it? It's still coming, right?
I think so.
Hope so.
I was listening to, what's this band's name? Jeff sent me a band earlier today. Chemist? Khemmis. So I was listening to them
I've
earlier.
heard of them, but I've not heard them.
They're all right. I'm picking up. I like what they're putting out there.
Picking up what they're putting down?
Yeah, I'm picking up what they're putting down, and I'm enjoying it.
Cool.
So
Cool.
we'll see what happens.
What are they putting down?
Some good metal.
Yeah.
Metal.
Okay, shall we, gentlemen?
I suppose we can.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I'm Austin's weird brother, Moose. Moose Powers is the name.
Corey, you should lean into this a bit. I like where it's going.
I drink a little bit of beer and play some video games.
God,
When
you know what?
my brother Austin Powers is shagging women. You're welcome.
Oh, that's fucking good. Oh, I'm so glad we did this.
I'm going to talk about Chasm until everybody falls asleep.
I kind of wish we got more of a reaction from Moose, but I'm okay with this.
It's all right. I got the reaction I wanted out of you, so it's fine.
All right. All right. We ready, gentlemen? Moose,
Yeah.
are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1.